aka Brand. This is episode 49 of the Anime Dojo. I'm alongside Chris and Deon this evening. Both of them on cam alongside me. Gentlemen, how you doing this evening?
Feeling on it.
Doing good.
We have a couple things to get into tonight because we had the Anime Japan 2024 anime stuff that's coming out this coming season, the next season, and things failed out to the future. Also, we have Anime Corner put out the full list of spring anime starting in April, early April up through May. So we'll talk about that. Also, we're gonna go through the anime charts and the episode tonight, episode 23 of Magic and Muscles, and episode 11 of Soul Leveling. Both these episodes were kind of interesting. We'll get into that. But first off, let's start off this from the anime Japan 2024. I had both the guys. There was an article I put in our group chat that kind of just gave what things they tease, what things they're coming out in the coming right away, or things come out in the future. So I asked the guys for the top 3 picks for each of that 2 or 3, because there was not a super ton, but there was a good amount still. So I'll start off with Chris for this. Chris, what was your top things from seeing from Anime Japan 2024?
Okay. So I had to split this in two. I'm sorry, but it's the only way that I can even get through this list. So my top 3 that are not new, returning: Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, and Reincarnated Slime. Those are my top 3.
Okay.
But my top 3 new ones though is going to be Go Go Loser Ranger and Kaiju 8.
Okay.
The other one is Chilling in Another World.
Okay, get that. Those are actually not bad picks. I know Go Ranger got a lot of talk about it, and that title is interesting, so I could see why that one. And then the other one you mentioned, heard a lot about that too. Deon, what was your picks for that from that Anime Japan 2024 thing?
Hey, Chris, you just made me look weak. Like I was like, wait,
I mean,
you broke it down into 2 separate parts.
I had to, bro, because there's a lot of good ones coming out, and I had a whole third list for a notable list. I'm just gonna be watching.
Some honorable mentions.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
come on, man. Like, it's a lot this season, bro.
Yeah, it is, man. Just in the beginning of April, the first week of April, there's over like 20 anime that I want to watch.
See?
Like
See?
you really gave me a task with breaking this one down to like 2 or 3 of them. But of course, the time I got reincarnated as a slime is on the top of that list. But I also want to see the irregular at Magic High School. I'm really interested in that coming back out.
That title sounds interesting, and I'm wondering how they're gonna do that because it's playing off the magical trope, but it's gonna do it in a different way, I assume.
Well, this is the 3rd season
Third
of it.
season. And
Oh,
technically it's the 4th season because they had a spin-off season.
That little,
That was
yeah.
okay,
Mhm.
okay. So
I heard
so it
it
has
was good. So
so it has been out before technically. So we have seen that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's really good. I want to say it kind of cancels out a lot of tropes that we see
Mm.
with like the crybaby main character and stuff like that. But it does really good at pushing their plot. Um, but as far as like newer stuff, man, I guess that's hard because there's a lot like and there's a lot of dramas
yes.
coming out, and I always want to give dramas a chance, like Vampire Dormitory and The
Mm.
Fable, stuff like that. But it's
The
kind
new
of
game.
hard to get away from the
Is the
action stuff.
is that Fable anime based on the game Fable, or is it just called Fable? I'm asking. I'm only asking
Um,
because when I saw the title, I was like Fable. I know the game, like the actual game that's playable, that's called Fable, or is it actually just called Fable for a different reason?
I think it's called Fable for a different reason. Like maybe like he's a liar.
Okay, okay.
um, I want to say it was not necessarily based off the game.
But it has a tie-in to the game if you understand that kind of world and stuff. The-
Yeah.
Okay. I wondered. It was an interesting one on the list. I was like, Fable.
Wait, I didn't play the game. What is the game about?
It's about a little kid who becomes kind of gains all this power through learning magic, and he was abandoned at he was like an orphan, all this kind of stuff, and he grows up to be a very powerful hero. But as he's doing that, he's meeting other people, learning other things. So it's kind of your normal.
Is he like an assassin? Does he turn into like an assassin?
He eventually kind of can become an assassin and does other things.
Okay, that sounds like that's what this is about. Because when I was doing research on it, it doesn't say anything about the game, but that's the premise of it. A kid who got abandoned as a child and grew up to become like this killer dude. Like,
yeah, like Fable is like he's basically his destiny was already set in motion. So you're just going through the fact that whatever his destiny is going to be, you're going to go on that path, but you also can change that path as well. So
okay, yeah, this dude is like supposed to be like the world's strongest assassin or something like that. But so yeah,
y'all have some good picks.
That's interesting.
Y'all have some good picks there. I mean, Fable's a good pick. I could see. Yeah, there's so much in this like season, but also just in the future coming down the pipe. It's just insane. And I usually don't do this very often. I'm gonna do this right now. What Deon said. If you haven't watched Reincarnated Slime, please go watch it. That show is amazing. I usually don't say that after watching only a season of it or season half. I'm not even through season 2 yet. But Chris got me on something. It's probably one of the other best isekais outside of Jobless. Outside of Jobless, it's probably the only other isekai I could get into. Like,
see,
that's
the fact that you're comparing both of those, man. See, that already lets you know it's gonna be a wild season.
Yeah, and at the same point, I will say this too. On that other list, around the other stuff I saw, we got confirmation that Chris Chain Soldier is gonna be going to season 2 in about a year or so. That is officially confirmed.
I didn't see that.
That is officially confirmed. We're getting a new character for that season as well, and a new voice actor allegedly. I'm wondering then if Chain Season continues. We haven't got the announcement for it, but I think that'll come down the pipe. I think Gushing Over Magical Girls will continue. I think that's going to end up being I think that'll be a thing because I think if Chain Soldier doing well.
Actually, I heard that Gushing Over Magical Girls is continuing.
Oh, it is? Yep. There we go then. Yeah. Yep. There we go.
It's like I have to watch that now.
No, you don't.
No. Yeah, no, that's one you need a cold shower after some of those scenes. We're not getting into
wow.
That. Yeah.
We're not getting into that.
Yeah. Worse than like High School DxD?
Yep.
Yes. That's
wow.
I can I can say that without doubt.
Sister New Devil style?
Worse.
Oh my goodness.
Worse than Sister New Devil.
Yeah.
See, Brandon, you haven't seen that one, so but yeah.
But I could.
Even Sister New Devil doesn't take it that far.
Even the premise you read versus New Devil, I could see where it was going with it. I can understand it. It's chainsaw levels, maybe a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But yeah, Question About the Girls is above that completely. Also on this list, like I want to see the girl band Cry. That's interesting. That title just seems like a rock girl band. That seems fun. We're getting Black Butler, the public school arc, which Black Butler hasn't been around in like how long? Like that's insane. That's coming back. Like,
yes.
I'm scared for it to come back. That's why I didn't make my list.
I'm scared too because Black Butler's so old, but I can see why they're doing it. You see a lot of older stuff coming back now.
As long as it doesn't come back bad like that. What's that one? The one that everybody all kind of forgot about.
Oh,
where he's got the blue sword with the horns.
Yeah.
Oh, Blue Exorcist?
Blue Exorcist.
Yeah, that one.
I still haven't watched the newer one yet.
Which it didn't do well as I think they expected.
That's the point. Like, we haven't seen it. I mean...
It could be really good. I doubt it. But, I mean... they left off on a really weak premise. It's like their last season had nothing to do with their original story. So it's like... when you come back, I expect you to hit hard.
Yeah.
Like how Bleach did. When Bleach came back, they hit hard.
But also Bleach knew they had to come back and hit hard. Because Bleach is the same period around when Dragon Ball was around. So they knew they had to hit hard. you can't come back and limp into a season thinking people are just gonna watch it. Not
Well, them
anymore.
Naruto creators thought they could with Boruto. So
Yeah.
Well, I put it the way I feel about it is more so like so Dragon Ball is probably like the great granddaddy, while One Piece and Bleach and they're more like the granddaddies now.
Correct.
Naruto,
Correct.
yeah, those. So everything that came after them I feel is like the new big three: Demon Slayer, My Hero. Those are like the big names of today's
Ooh,
generation.
you putting Demon Slayer in there?
I think Demon
I
Slayer.
mean, but
My
I can't compare it
Hero?
to My Hero. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
bro.
I think Demon Slayer deserves it. If you want something that's good, I would tell somebody. Also, if you want to get into the shonen genre, action genre, Demon Slayer is
Yeah.
probably the first one I would tell somebody to watch. Just because the story is simple enough to where you can enjoy it, and the action's not over the top.
And it's good, don't get me wrong. I just don't know if it has enough longevity to be considered like the
That is
next
also
big
true.
3.
That is also
But
true.
Like My
the way
Hero is
I
about to
see
be on
it,
its 7th season and like 12
maybe
movies,
you're right, but they debuted around closer to around the same time though.
They did.
which means
20.
Demon Slayer has been sleeping for 4 seasons.
But
Well,
they still have the same size fan base.
that's true.
Yeah, no, I would say they are definitely the young pups in the game, like
Mhm.
the good guys. But man, when you look at shows like um uh Kuroko no Basket, Blue Lock, uh not Blue Lock, 'cause Blue Lock is newer too, but the older shows that kind of came out and they have like roughly 10 seasons now, like 7 to 10 seasons now. It's
But
hard to like overlook them when we're talking about good
but that's
shows with longevity, like Hunter x Hunter, and but
you're right. But the only okay, maybe I'm a little biased because I didn't fully get Hunter X Hunter.
not a lot of people do.
But that's why I can't call it that's why I can't call it like ugh.
But
And
I
then
but I think both of y'all have a point because I'll look. I'm gonna kind of look the rest. So August 2nd, we get Spice and Wolf, the merchant. The merchant of the merchant meets the wise wolf. That seems interesting. You have the banished
that's a
from the
remake.
former.
That's a
That is a
remake of
that is a
Spice and
remake.
Wolf. Yeah.
I kind of figured it was the
And the
banished.
first one, the original, is good. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're
Yeah,
good.
the
You're fine.
original is good.
You're fine. Banished former hero lives a peaceful as as he pleases. I heard about that one. That's not an isekai. I'm kind of not. I heard that was a. I
It
heard
sounds like for Beyond Journey's in
it
male
sounds like the
version.
peace. It sounds like the peaceful life. The former hero lives a peaceful life in the countryside. That's what it reminds me of. Uh,
Until you see the cover and it's like, oh, that
yeah,
looks
that's
like
the
Japan.
the cover is kind of weird. The time man reincarnated slime. The regular magic high school. Windbreaker seems interesting. Um,
Yeah.
there's like salad bowls on here. Girl bands on August 6th.
One of my notable mentions would be God's Game We Play.
Yeah, God Games with Plays on here. I saw that one. That's on August 1st. There's
It's Train to the End of the World. Is that on there?
yes, it is. It is on August 1st as well, alongside God Game We Play. So th- I I will say right now, this season probably has the best mix between what Anime Japan 2024 did and what we see for this season. This season is probably the best mix of drama, shonen, and isekai. This is probably one of the few times where you're not going to see a bunch of isekai be at the top or a bunch of drama. And ultimately, I think the other thing about the season you'll see, I kind of looked through the list, it's there's a lot of stuff hitting on certain days, and then there's only like 2 or 3 hitting on others. So it's like you can really like Kaiju number 8 is not till August 13th. It's the back half of the year. It's alongside
Oh, okay.
back half of the second week in April. Alongside Black Butler and Shadow Flame Arc or Shadow versus Flame Arc. Um, So that's a newer show, I think. In like basically in May, we only have 2 shows. You have My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer. May 4th, May 12th. That's it.
You have a sleeper on May 15th. I think it's a Netflix original. I'm not sure, but it's called Blood of Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did see that. I don't think it's on this list, but I did see that. Yeah, that's on May 15th.
We didn't even touch Netflix is coming out stuff like, oh my god.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's probably a lot.
Like
across the board.
it's making me want to go get Netflix again, and I hate y'all know I hate Netflix.
But I mean, wait a minute though. Tell me why. I believe My Hero Academia is going to be coming out on Netflix too, like week to week.
Oh, is it going Crunchyroll and Netflix?
I think it is.
Oh wow! So it's gonna split. I know Demon Slayer always waits a season, so it usually doesn't come out the same season on Netflix. It takes like a year, like a season cycle. So the next season happens the season after you get it on Netflix. That's gonna be interesting. I wonder how that's gonna work out. Before we move on to the charts, I'll ask you gentlemen this. I'm gonna say it. I know it's probably gonna be kind of sacrilegious to say it. Is this gonna be one of the tougher seasons to watch for anime? In the sense that if you want to watch multiple things, you're gonna have watch list ready, time clocks, all that kind of stuff, so where you are prepared to cover multiple things. And alongside that question, I'm gonna ask you this: do you kind of wish that they would just like if the episode's coming out on the 1st of April, the 31st you can put in your watch list? And Deon, I'll start with you.
I think that depends on the release day and also when the rest of these big hitters decide to drop. Because we still have a bunch that we don't know the release date to. Like the sorry, the Rick and Morty release. The I had to swallow that one real hard. But Bleach is coming back out this year. Devil May Cry is coming out this year. You got the Suicide Squad Isekai coming out this year. We don't know when. So if they decide to drop in April, yeah, you better get your calendars out. Because it's gonna be a hard one to do.
We know one. Suicide Squad in July. We do know that. July 2024.
It's in July. Okay.
It is that's officially in July. Now, I won't disagree with you that I could see that getting bumped up for some random reason. They go, we put it in June or put it in late May. I can see that happening. Just because there's nothing in May or nothing in June that's really going to hit. Fine. Chris, same question to you. What do you think about the fact we're getting so much in this season that's going to be kind of a lot to watch? But ultimately, do you agree with Deon? If there's more that comes in this season that we don't know about, is it going to be kind of hard to cover everything you want to watch?
I mean, it depends on what kind of job you got, honestly. Because I mean, if you work at a construction job, you might come home and watch one anime or whatever it is and go straight to sleep, if that. But these people that's working from home, oh man, they gonna be having a timer on, they gonna have an alarm come on. Like, bro, it's so much coming out. And then I would say, bro, to any of our listeners listening, I would check and see of your favorite shows that you want to watch. Make sure that you are prescribed to whatever medium that you are to watch them. Because not everything's coming out on Crunchyroll, and nor is everything coming out on High Dive, or Netflix, or Hulu, or Disney. All of them that show anime now. So yeah.
I think the only thing I'm gonna unfortunately. I think the thing I will say, we kind of know your big hitters. So your big hitters like Reincarnated Slime, Black Butler,
Demon Slayer,
Jobless, Demon Slayer, My Academia. Those are all Crunchyroll. You know that already. Kaiju number 8, I'll put in that list because that's also coming to Crunchyroll. But things like the one Chris mentioned, God's Game We Play, or like Deon mentioned, Train to the End of the World. Maybe not come to Crunchyroll. Might go to High Dive. Might go to Netflix. You don't know. And that's the one thing about this I always kind of feel kind of weird is that they should list out where they're headed.
Where they're going,
but you never really know that until like the day it happens or the day after it happens.
So the live chart that I use is pretty accurate, and the closer to the dates, that they get, they will debut it.
Correct. Actually, before we go on to the charts, shout out that live chart because I know the name of it, but I don't remember it fully.
It's livechart.me.
Okay, livechart.me. All right. Yeah, that is a good place because they usually do a very good job with keeping stuff when it comes out. They have a good time clock. Things might shift around a little bit because the time clock's not always going to be perfect, but ultimately, Chris has mentioned to me a couple times, it is a good place to see how dates will fall.
When and where. That's cool.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question? Because
Yeah, go ahead.
I know you guys have more access to stuff. You just mentioned the website. Do we know anything about Uzumaki? Have we heard any extra news about Uzumaki?
I haven't seen it.
Show about Minato.
I haven't seen it talked about much. I don't think it's not even on this list.
Because it's supposed to come out this year.
Yes, I do remember that this year. I don't think they gave a release date for it yet.
Because if that comes out in April or even May.
It was talked about at Anime Japan. I think it was mentioned in Japan, but there wasn't no new information on it.
Okay.
It was just mentioned saying it was going to be this year.
I can see it coming out in the summer or like that fall season with like what's coming out this fall. I know. Oh man, what's coming out this fall?
There's not.
I know Dan to Dan's coming out this fall.
Yeah, Dan to Dan. We have that boxing.
The new Dragon Ball.
That boxing fighting anime is coming out this fall. I forget the name of it. That's been I've seen pictures on Anime Corner about it.
Now, are y'all talking about spring or summer or fall?
He's saying fall stuff that we kind of already know about. They haven't really mentioned fall as like.
Well, again on live charts they have reveiw is coming out.
Yeah, I did see that because that was talked about.
That's like another season of it, right?
Yep, and I cannot pronounce it, but it's the one where he goes into the dungeon. He comes out stronger because he started eating everything.
You know yeah. I can't think. I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name, but yeah.
Okay,
that's on that list.
See these on this list. They've been announced, but it's like the names are still in Japanese, so I can't really read them. But Sword Art is coming back out.
Yeah, because I know there's a lot that we don't have dates for, but they just say like this year, like The Witcher and Uzumaki and
Witcher, Demon Slayer, or not Demon Slayer. Yeah. Devil May Cry was on that list of like this year, but we don't know exact date for it.
Yeah, Devil May Cry for sure.
We don't know. So
One Punch Man it was one of those that was tossed up in the air for so long.
I think if we're getting Anime Japan now, I think by the beginning of fall next year, beginning of fall, we're gonna get Shonen Jump, the Shonen Jump conference, which is the same thing they did last year, where the Shonen Jump conference announced everything that's coming out in the fall, and then had stuff for coming out later in the year. So we'll have both of those as ways to kind of gauge things. It's gonna be an interesting season. They're
coming out with a Tomb Raider. I'm so sorry. I just seen this on this list.
Yeah, Tomb Raider's on that list. Tomb Raider's on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What? I will say this right now.
100 Year Quest is coming back in the summer.
Yeah. I think with anime now, if you're a fan of these shows, I think it's going to be a good year for a lot of people. If you're a fan of just something different and want to just find things, it's going to be a good year. But I also think, too, like we're watching with this season, Magic and Muscles have done very well. Solo Leveling has done very well. But at the same time, we have Dangerous in My Heart that's just killed the charts for the last 11 weeks at the top. So it's going to be one of those years where I think you're going to have a lot of people be divisive. And this probably will also be the most divisive chart Anime Corner probably does because there's a lot of bangers in here, but there's also a lot of sleeper hits. So we'll see how it ends up. Speaking of the charts, let's get into them. This chart starts off with Dangerous in My Heart Season 2 at 1, The Apothecary Diaries at 2, Magic and Muscles jumps up 4 spots to 3. Furs Beyond Genius and drops 2 spots. Classroom Elite stays at 5. Solo Leveling drops 3 spots. 7. Married My Worst Enemy goes up a spot. A Sign of Affection goes up a spot. Chain Soldier goes up 2 spots, and Rhonda Crizin drops 4 spots. Deanna, I'm going to start with you. What is your takeaway from this chart for week 11, March 15th through the 22nd?
Well, I'll tell you one thing for free. Is it bad that I'm not mad at the number 3 slot going to Magic and Muscles for this particular episode?
Wait. Repeat that again. Wait.
Yeah,
Repeat
there it goes.
repeat
There
that
it
one time.
goes.
You said you're not mad at Magic and Muscles being at 3. Why?
Not for this particular episode. I know it's the episode that I didn't get to watch with you personally, but I'm not mad at that episode. There was like a little bit of chaos, but it was a fun episode to watch. It was a lot of action. It was a lot of like the boss battle was amazing. Like it was a decent episode. It's what I've been waiting from Mash the entire season.
But I tell you, Brandon, I told you he was gonna say something like that. I called it. Ah.
You did call it.
Now, reality, do I want to see it in the number 3 spot? No. But am I mad? No, I can understand this one going number 3 over all the other ones that have gone number 3 or 4 or 5 this entire season.
And I rated the episode like a 3, and I didn't think it was that bad, but I also thought it was kind of disjointed. But ultimately, I agree with you, Deon, in this sense. Yeah, there was a lot of action. Yeah, there was a little bit of story. I think it took too long. But ultimately, not. I'll say something right now. Tonight's episode is gonna be interesting because when I watch it, we'll watch it again at night, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 23. I'm gonna have a really shocking thing to say to you, and it's gonna be kind of funny when you hear what I think about that episode. But I also think it's kind of funny. Fears Beyond Journey's End dropped 2 spots, and that's I think because it's still kind of in that weird thing where it's that this is the second to last episode. The last episode aired this past weekend, so you get to see that fruition out on this next chart. But I think that's also not surprising. Chris, what do you think about this chart based on how you see it for week 11?
Honestly, Apothecary Diaries, I finally watched it. It belongs in that second spot. Dangers in My Heart is really good, but I don't think he belongs in the first spot. Magic and Muscles, I wouldn't put it in the third spot, but compared to the other stuff that's out, I easily could. For me, he could have easily switched places with Solo Leveling, and Solo Leveling that wasn't even an action episode.
Right.
Now, honestly, to see Chain Soldier even in the top 10, yeah.
I think the thing is, and Chris brings the point, the Apothecary Diaries is actually a pretty good show. Based on what I've heard about it, it seems like it's interesting. I'm actually surprised. Is Dangers in My Heart, Chris, considered a drama?
Yes.
So I'm assuming your friend that likes dramas.
It's a comedy drama.
Comedy drama. So I'm guessing the friend that she likes a lot of drama. She's watching this.
She just weird.
Well, but here's the thing. You said she liked drama in the past. I'm not shocked.
Yeah, she's the one who told me to go and watch it because she wasn't going to tell me. And I quote, and she said, "I'm not going to let you keep calling me, asking me if these drama shows are really good. You get to ask me once a week, and I tell you yay or nay." That's what she told me.
You better save up your list.
She made me like, I'm cutting you off. It's kind of funny.
But
she's just weird. That was a great response.
Her favorite though, and she says this should be higher, was Sign of Affection. She says Sign of Affection is a tragedy that everybody's overlooking.
But
that's probably why though, because it's a tragedy.
It has a tragic story. It probably has a tragic story, which is hard to get into usually. I can't disagree with this list a little bit. I think I agree with Chris. Affections in My Heart or Affections Apothecary Diaries should be 2. That definitely earns that 2 spot. Magic and Muscles getting a 3 for this episode. Yes, I think for the next episode it's gonna also get 3. I'll tell you what after we review it. Fears Beyond Journey's End. it's kind of falling off because at the end of the season, I think a lot of people kind of got bored with it, lately. But it's on top 5. Go ahead and say it, Deon. I know what.
It's
Go ahead and
where
say
it
it.
belongs, dropping steadily down the list. That's where it belongs.
Yeah.
Wait,
Class of the week.
what show?
Beyond Journey's End.
Rare.
Furion.
Man,
Yep. Class of the Week, I haven't continued watching. I'm waiting till finish out, then I'm watching English. But I think that's got ramped up now because we're at the end of that season, and they said we're gonna get some plot point stuff at the end of there. So
do you see where they have Metallic Rouge rated?
I haven't looked yet. I'm gonna look in a second. Solo Leveling, I think, shouldn't have dropped its story stuff. I know people are gonna say they just want to hear for the action, but ultimately, this episode they gave you tonight is more action than you probably ever wanted. But we'll get into that too. That's what I want to I'm happy for Chain Soldier. I ultimately will say this. I kind of wish, and I don't really think I would say this normally, I kind of wish Gushing Over Magic Girls were higher. I think it deserves the top 10.
The fact that they took a risk, such a huge risk in this last episode,
Yeah.
they really ought to be like the number 1 spot. I think so.
Yeah,
I don't think any anime has ever gone that far. Like, seriously.
Hentai anime deserves top 10.
Okay, so here's the thing. It isn't like hentai in the sense of like hentai. It's more or less fan service but the definition of fan service is like more above that line. So you're not in true. You're never gonna get. They're not doing true hentai. They're just doing more fan service things.
Oh, it's Cinemax.
Chris Bates looked at me like,
it's the for Deon. You seen the first episode of House of Dragons, right?
Yeah.
So you know that one scene in the tower.
Yeah.
That's Gushing Over Magical Girls without dudes.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm gonna run through
That's
11.
almost, all right.
I'm gonna run through 11 through 20. Building level 99 is 11. The Wrong Way You Heal Magic is 12.
Yes.
I'm actually happy seeing the top 15.
Yeah.
Yes.
Delicious Dungeon is 13. We should be there.
Yes.
Moonlight season 2 is at 14. Shangri-La is at 15. I think that should be a lot higher than probably.
Well, no, these last 2 episodes
been kind of slow.
Slower things. Honkai Girls Super Adorable is at 16. Gushing Over Magic Girls at 17. That's fair. I'm not going to be mad at that too much. Undead Unlucky is at 18. The Unwanted Adventure is at 19. That Ninja Chirs show is still at 20. Wow, I'm surprised by that. That probably.
It's getting better, but it's still garbage to me.
If Gushing Over Magical Girls gets higher than 15 this week, we know why.
Yeah, there's like one reason they can do it. Witch and the Beast at 27. Tales of a Wedding Ring is at 26. And Chris, I don't know. Chris got me into the first episode. I haven't got a chance to go back to it. That first episode was amazing. Yeah, that's one on my list for when it comes out for season. I think they're doing a season 2 sooner down the road. Sometime down the road. Yeah. That got announced for a season 2 sometime down the road.
My instant death ability is funny as all get out.
Yeah, it's a funny one. That's a funny one. Where am I at? What the?
I feel like I watched it, but I can't remember what it is.
All right. Before we get to the shows tonight, Fushigiri, 35. I know you're clapping. That's fine. I get it. Metallic Rogue, 40.
Ooh.
That should not be at 40, but okay. All right.
Fushigiri should be number 5 on the list.
I think Fushigiri's gotten better. I think those first 3 episodes are slow. I think that's why
I was gonna say I did send y'all the other chart.
Yeah, I'm about to look at it.
Okay.
Yeah. Fushigiri's probably gotten better because they've gotten past the slow parts, but I think it's still kind of To
I
me.
like every moment of Bushigiri. Well, I like
Somebody has to.
86% of Bushigiri.
Okay,
Somebody
that's
got
fair.
to. Somebody's got to put it on this list.
That is my magic and muscles. What everybody is
Yeah.
expecting from MASH, I get from Bushigiri.
That's fair.
Comic
Now,
release with the serious fights, like
that's fair. I agree with that one. I do agree with that. That could be more. That makes more sense. So then Christian does the other chart. It's anime karma list. So is this one to? Yeah, it is. Okay. Oh, so Furian's on its Furian's on top of this list. Apothecary Diaries, Delicious
check.
Dungeon, Soul Leveling, Gushing Over Magical Girls, Dangers in My Heart Season 2. That doesn't okay, that actually makes more sense now where that list is where that's panned out. Villain of Level 99, Shangri-La, Undead Unlucky, Classroom Elite, Magic and Muscles. Okay, fair. 7-Time Loop, affection, Sign of Affection, The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic, and The Undead Adventurer. All right. I mean, okay, so that's fair. That's fair.
See, Apothecary Diaries is on the number 2 spot on both charts. It is concretely supposed to be there.
And I think having
that's
Furion at 1 makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Furion at 1 there makes more. I wish there was an aggregator site that could combine votes and watch things, but there isn't. So, like, it's so hard because Gushing's higher on that list, and that tells me then people have been watching Gushing Over Magic Girls. That's higher on that. It was higher on that list, which is even more kind of funny because it probably doesn't deserve that. It probably does deserve that, but it hasn't earned it.
Wow, Delicious and Dungeon is high on this list.
Correct. That also tells you that it should be higher on the other list because Delicious and Dungeon is very good compared to what I've heard. So
Shangri-La is this top 10?
Top 15 or top 10? I couldn't based on that, I couldn't tell. It's 15.
It's like 8.
What I gave
right?
you was top 15. Yeah.
Top 15. Yeah, top 15. Which still, that's not bad for top 15. Comparatively, that's where everything should sit based on that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. I think there should become a day if Crunchyroll could ever get the actual viewing figures, just put the viewing figures out for a week alongside the votes, or like get the viewing figures, put the viewing figures out, and then have Anime Corners votes and see where it actually sits because you can compare the two pretty easily. But without that, it feels like one show's doing better than others without really having a reason to do better. But hey,
I mean, they're
close.
Yeah. Yeah. You just got this top 10 shuffled around a lot.
Yeah, you do.
Undead Unlucky is way higher on this list than
correct.
The other one.
That's the other one I looked at. Undead Unlucky was the big one.
But
I mean,
have y'all seen that? It's actually pretty good though.
I like it.
I've seen the first season. I've seen the first season. Yeah, it's really good. So I get why that's up there. I will say this. I like to know what y'all think in the comments because it's so going to be interesting to me when we get to spring because I think this list is going to be bouncing around every week and we don't know what to think about it.
Nah, man, this list. I think next season the list is gonna be like a concrete block we're maybe something moving every 2 or 3 weeks.
Correct.
I feel like the big episodes will probably make the list move, but other than that,
no, nothing will change it.
Because you're gonna have your people definitely playing favorites with this release.
Correct. Correct. But let's get into Magic and Muscles episode 23. Ladies and gentlemen, Magic and Muscles is on a journey I don't think anybody expected. And this journey is weird because it's a journey to become serious all of a sudden. And partially serious, but serious nonetheless. And I think if you don't like tonal shifts in shows very often, this ain't for you. But I think the way they do the tonal shift works just enough. We'll get into it after we watch it, and you're gonna have, like I told Deon earlier, you're gonna be shocked when I give the answer to the review because when we review this answer, what I give you, it's gonna be funny. But in a second, I will say 3, 2, 1, and then we'll get going. Gentlemen, you ready?
Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up.
No worries. Take your time.
Yeah, my system went to sleep.
Yeah.
Still getting used to this, man.
Oh, are you using
Yeah.
Xbox? That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Okay.
That's what
Look
I thought
at
he
you.
was using Xbox. I thought that's what the case was. I was like, you're not using PlayStation because you're in the other room.
Yeah.
I mean, I just noticed that you had on 2 headphones.
Yeah, one, for
the
you
podcast.
guys, and then
And then
the
the
other
other.
is the system.
To listen to the show. Yep.
Ah.
The olden days of how to do things. That was some long time ago.
Yeah, man. Man, this is like my mobile setup.
That works.
Fair enough. I
Otherwise, you
can't
guys
talk.
would be loud enough to get inside the mic, and there'd be feedback.
Look, I can't talk about. I am literally sitting in a chair in my room with a tablet and a phone.
Oh wow!
But see, it's funny. We all have different setups. If you think about it, that's a good. It shows you the different ways how we handle this. And I think I'm probably one of the few who looks more podcast like I'm sitting in a chair in the back. My back, like, but hey, fair enough. Don't really care,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I miss my room, but it is what it is.
Fair enough.
I'll be back soon enough. All right, Magic and Muscles, right?
Yep. Episode 23. I'm gonna make a prediction. Like before we watch it, I'm making a prediction now. I think it's gonna be one of those.
Here we go.
I think it's gonna be in top 3 next season, next chart. But also with Furion leaving the chart as of as of this past chart, I think it's gonna be 2. But we'll see. Yeah.
You think so?
I think it might be. It's gonna be a 2 or 3. I think it might be 2. If
I want to say if anywhere between 3 and 6.
3, okay.
I definitely say top 5. I wouldn't put it at 2 because I believe there's something else that's gonna go at 2.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. All right. So let's get into it. So
all right, I'm at zeros, guys.
All right. So in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Episode 23, MASH and the origin of the great magic user. And by the way, why did we need the recap here? Like this didn't make sense. Okay. They've done the last 3 episodes. I'm fine with it.
Their recaps are horrendously done too. Like, why do we need the entire?
Well, I think it's the thing. Like, you're showing a short attention spans. People who have, like Chris said, short attention spans. People who don't.
But it's on a streaming app. Just go back and watch it.
You could. You're right. Hey, you're right.
I could see if it was like Toonami again or something, like where you only watch every Saturday morning or something.
Yeah.
You have access.
But I think that's the thing. I think for them, it's a way to keep people engaged. And the only reason this is here is for the hard-hitting part here. To show that MASH knocked him out with his knee. And they do the thing Chris wanted at the last episode. They do it here.
What was that? I missed.
Oh, how he's in the air.
Oh my god, yeah. He looks super cool right here. And then this happens.
There we go. Chris called it. Chris called that. I still can't believe the song's almost hit at like 80 million views. Or 80 million.
This is the best song of this year so far.
Yeah. I think Soul Leveling's second song I like more. Their ending song.
Oh. Eh,
The full
you
song
can't
of the ending
dance to it
song.
like this one.
It's more interesting, but
This or Jujutsu Kaisen for me. Jujutsu Kaisen's opening song for this year was really cool.
I still think Shangri-La's first season was fine.
when you say Kaiden Deon, do you mean special?
When
they did last season special, which is the one that's really kind of like offbeat.
Which one is it?
Because it says we are special, like we are special. That one.
Deon is special.
Yep, that one. That's good. I mean, yeah, that's
yeah,
good. But that also fit the anime for that purpose.
Yeah. Sorry for my horrible thinking skills.
No, you're good.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Can.
Yeah.
Can you fine? I love the fact you got there finally, and now you're about to leave again. And like Chris said, like you could just gotta find headmaster at this point.
Thank you.
I've been waiting for this part.
Seems redundant.
Dude, finally got there.
And then you leave.
You could have just kept flying.
That's why I voted last episode pretty high. Like, he finally made it. Finally. There you take off again.
How could you move? The only thing I'm going to say with this, how could you move your legs that fast to where you can stay in the air that long? Your legs would get tired eventually, and it's even possible. Your legs will also get tangled up. I know. I know what you're looking, Chris. You're like, you're overthinking this. Like, oh, you know.
It's bad.
Like, do we have to go there? Like, do we have to?
You're right.
And I like the fact that he's like hovering. You can see him like moving up and down. Whereas the other guys are just like there.
Yeah.
It's a nice little touch.
Well, you'd think they would be hovering for what if they're floating in the air, so it wouldn't be like they're staying still.
It's the power of magic.
Space sacrifice, so where he just drills a giant hole in a mountain. I don't know what. You gain nothing. You gain a lot more than that.
They did not have to make those hits sound like that.
They sound like beefy. They sound like they're actually doing good hits.
It sounds like Dragon Ball Z.
But it's it's not a good tale. When we watch Soul Leveling, you can really tell the hits were sounding like actual sword hits and things. Overuse his power. Wait, how you say you want to become the perfect human that's undead, powerful, and beautiful? What? That's not even okay. That line kind of like doesn't really make much sense because he's already dead. He's already partially dead. Oh, so they got the fact that even Adam Jobs didn't like people who didn't use magic, which is even more crazy if you think about it.
I mean, Steve Jobs. I mean, yeah.
Yes, that's what they're playing off of. Jeez, just Steve Jobs parody.
He's so worth defeating.
I love the fact they did. He said the world will accept me. Then had like the little American flag with the confetti, like as a presidential candidate. That's kind of funny.
I forget that he actually has a noble cause, like it to be in this world.
But see, that's been like kind of left in the dust. Now they're bringing it back up. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
And that teases for season 2. Or season 3, technically.
Right? It doesn't feel like the same season, like the same
Because he said
show.
we'll finish this another time. So basically saying
Yeah.
we will see this fight again, but not now. Unless they're going to just rush it in the last episode, but they won't rush it. It's going to be a tease. It's a tease. And the giant goblin or giant one-eyed monster with about 7 heads. I'll need a.
I hate how cool he is.
Wait, why do you think how cool he is?
The Innocent Zero character, like he's got the most riz on the show right now.
This what makes the plot serious now. I think with him coming to play, without him, this is not that serious.
Like I know he's the bad guy, so I shouldn't like him. But
I love the fact you literally said, "I just made it in time to catch you."
This whole show.
How slow are you flying? Like you, How do you go with the speed of sound at that point?
And he's supposed to be the second strongest person on the planet.
Yeah. And now we're going back to the arena. Man, they ripped this out of like any like bad guy movie, like the song. If even a certain without magic is capable of such a feat. Have you seen this man? Dot
No,
Lance
you
and
don't be looking for them, you weakling.
and Finn is like back in the plot. I love it.
And they standing in the middle of the arena.
Well, he was frozen. They couldn't see. I bet time and space stopped for them. They couldn't see a thing.
But he's looking for them, and they're standing in the middle of the arena. Just look down, bro.
Yeah.
Why does he sound like a broken record player?
Like who?
The little
girl?
Puppet guy. The puppet guy?
Yeah, the girl who was with the puppet guy.
Yeah. Well, I think she's just amazed by why is that giant monster about to come destroy us? They're all in shock. I would be running or fighting back. I don't know what I wouldn't just be standing there. Y'all all go to a magic school. Like what?
Thank you. Like, bro, all of y'all got a wand. Use it.
Right. Everybody at that school is supposed to be some type of strong, right? Like,
Exactly.
And they're all gonna run. It's like, nope. We ain't sticking around for this.
that is horrible.
Leave it to our
Everybody's
main
like,
characters.
oh my God. Can't win against them. No, you can't win against a monster
We
like
can't
that.
win against you. It is a line you can't Finn say it.
They had the wrong person say that line.
And there's a magical barrier.
At least you tried, bro. At least you tried.
Now is when you cower. Y'all was running before y'all knew magic wouldn't work.
So wait, is Marcus just gonna be probably a woman? We don't see him back in his male form at all.
I hope that's not even the question I want to answer.
Like it's what a weird. Like we've never. He hasn't come back to his male form at all. We're like, wait, so he's just gonna say.
He's like, that's his Super Saiyan form.
Fair enough. I can be okay with. I can get. I love that line. You haven't gone on a honeymoon yet. Wait, what?
Well, just punch it. Oh wait.
Can't do that because that's trademark.
Wait, can't do what?
You can't just punch them.
Oh yeah.
So instead, they do something like this.
I'm not going to explain the physics on this because I don't think it would make
Oh
any
no,
sense.
don't. Please don't.
Try.
Please
But it's
don't.
also kind of funny. It's also kind of funny. Like he's pulling a chain of a giant demon monster.
Yeah.
Like, how in the world is that even working?
Like a
I'm
puppy.
Like, okay. That chain is like twice his body size.
I'm about to say the chain itself is already heavy, and then you're holding back this X amount of tons of He-Man. Like,
Let's not even get on the time frame. How did you make it back there in less time than the dude made it to you that's been moving for 5 episodes?
But dude, we've already explained, Deon, that he can run like the speed of sound at this point. Like that's something we've learned. Or close to it. It's like, okay, fair enough.
So he moved faster than that broomstick?
Yeah, basically.
I get it now. MASH is like a magical Superman.
Yeah.
Without the magic.
Without the magic. Yeah.
Anti-magic Superman. Whereas the sun gives Superman power, it takes mashes away.
I love the fact they're having that conversation like, we can't allow this. He doesn't have magic. We don't like him. But yet, there we go. Doesn't really matter though.
Doesn't really matter.
Whether or not he can use magic, we're not dead. That's kind of the point.
I say, like,
that,
y'all
he's fighting
got
for
that.
us.
That's what I say. Y'all got magic and ain't doing not a damn. And here he is.
Run.
You see what I'm saying?
But
and then y'all planned on running before you even knew that magic wouldn't work. Like y'all didn't even try nothing.
They didn't bring up a plot point though, which is interesting. Do you remember when they did the first test for the Divine Visionary, where it's the giant goblin-looking things, the hammers, where they can't be defeated by magic? They had a high healing factor. Same type of thing here, except for the fact magic just doesn't work on them at all.
Well, magic didn't work on those things either.
No, it didn't. You had to. You really had to. If you could damage him by punching him or anything, but you couldn't. Like they would heal right after.
I mean, magic may not work. How about picking up some stones with your magic?
Throwing a rock.
Throwing it. Like y'all didn't try nothing. You just ran. And
by
now
the way,
y'all
his hands would be red, but I'm not gonna. Also, I'm gonna let that one go.
His hands are bleeding.
That's what I mean. They would be red and bloody. Like you would see the blood coming out of his fingers.
Squirt coming out. Yeah. Like, dude. And then they go and do some stupid.
I'm done.
I told you I'll come back around.
You make this guy be the one to give him his power boost?
But here's the thing. Everybody's saying, but everybody started cheering. So then Finn had to be the last one to believe that he could actually do it. He's a friend. I get it. I don't agree with it. I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it.
And then you toss him far enough to where he explodes.
Like an anvil. Like a shot put. Yeah, no. That little song there is amazing though. I have to give him credit for that. I love the. She's still not with feet of no girls. I love that. Oh, that's a great.
Cream pie before women. Alright.
I have to give this show credit. They do a good job trying to make stakes, and they've done a good job also making this serious enough to where it means something. I'm only doing this in 3 parts because the front half of this is the middle half of this is all fighting for the most part, and a lot of talking. The back half is kind of just recap stuff, kind of tying up loose ends, and the front half is mainly recap the first like 30 minutes of this. But we'll start with this. So this starts off with the recap we saw last week, and then we cut right to the beginning opening song. After the opening song, we go back to MASH, the headmaster, and Innocent Zero. Innocent Zero pretty much, or the headmaster's like, "Why are you here, MASH? What are you gonna do? You know he's trying to take you, right?" He's like, and MASH's like, "I'm here to help you. You helped me. Why? I'm here to help you." MASH mentioned, and then Innocent Zero mentions, "I want to be the perfect human." The perfect human, which means undead, beautiful, and powerful. Ultimately, this kind of leads into something where we kind of get the fact that he can overexert his power to a point, and once he does, he's taken too much of it. He's kind of out of it, but he's still pretty strong nonetheless. And the last thing I'll talk about in the front half is that MASH kicks him twice, doesn't really do much. Then ultimately we see that Headmaster's power has now transferred to Innocent Zero, and then Innocent Zero shoots off blast, and MASH covers up the Headmaster to block it. Chris, I'm gonna start off with you. What do you think about this first 9 minutes or so?
Okay, well, I'll save a special comment for the end. But Whoopi, yeah, okay, he made it there. Grandpa, he trying to take over the fight for you, Grandpa. Let him take you. Cause you ain't got no arm and you ain't got no wand and dude stole your magic. I mean, at this point, you a liability, so you might as well just let him fight. That's the way I was going to do it. Shit.
Not a liability.
I mean, bro, you ain't, bro, you nobody. Okay, when dude lost his wand, that was the first thing. Then he lost his arm. That's all. So at that point, you just another old man with no arm.
But he's still head of a magic school, so I'm not gonna. I get what you're saying, but I don't.
Okay,
Yeah, I wouldn't
when it
count
comes
him
to
out
rules of
completely
it,
yet.
I mean, bruh, what can you do? Are you a spin?
Yeah, he was spin. He was spin.
Like Deon, you on a battlefield. Your arm got blown off, and the gun was in that arm. What you gonna do?
Hey, you know what they say? It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. I'd have kicked him.
I had to get up in the camera and look at you because you know what? It's gonna be a dead dog if he ain't got no blood in him.
Hey,
that's true. Deon, what do you think about this? What do you think about this first part?
honestly, it's garbage, man. You gave me hope with the last episode that this fight was gonna be a banger. And then, like Chris said, you took your main fighter and turned him into dead weight. And then had him get rescued by man.
But
Like, bro.
But MASH was already gonna go there anyway. He was going there anyway.
Yeah,
but the cane told him
to rescue the master of the
There
headmaster of a school.
Okay. That's fair.
It should have been, MASH, you here? Bet, team up.
Yeah, that's
bro.
fair.
At least Dumbledore died trying, and the only way Dumbledore died was because he got hit from the back on the cool.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, my man still ain't make it to where he was supposed to go.
We'll get into that. That's
Still
funny.
late.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. So then MASH kind of looks at Headmaster, kind of looks at and kind of tells him, "Hey, I'm gonna punch him in my fist. I'm gonna be part of the school to the point where I'm gonna have the people accept me." It has like the confetti with the like red light behind him. It looks like an American flag with confetti kind of thing, presidential speech kind of stuff. And Zero mentions the fact that Well, if you think about it, our headmaster, our former mentor, Adam Jones did not like to mingle with people who didn't have magic. He kind of exiled them. That comes into play later. You'll see it later. Engine Zero mentions that we're gonna finish this fight later. But by the way, since we're gonna finish this fight later, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna see if we can do something. So then he turns that all the undead demon things that they've been fighting on the ground into this one giant demon thing, and it starts trying to go after the people in the arena. One of the Kane masters kind of says it's not great, it's not a good idea, it's not great. We see it form, he sees it out in the sky. Mash and the headmaster look at it and kind of like, something bad's about to happen. And then as it's happening, headmaster's kind of looking more deeper into it, and as that's happening, we see headmaster start falling out of the sky because he's overexhausted, tired. And our the head bureau of the security comes and saves him after taking his sweet time, but nonetheless. Then the last little section, we see the people at school kind of still standing there, and then Innocent Zero says, "Mash, you can do this. Let's see if you can do this feat." And then we're back at the school when everybody gets unfrozen. So, Deon, I'm going to start off with you for this. This next little section, what do you think about up to the point where we see Mash and Headmaster talking to the point where we see Innocent Zero, to the point we see the kids unfrozen back at the arena?
So basically the whole non-fight I thought we were gonna get.
Yeah, pretty much.
The entire waste of time we just went through. We went through 3 episodes to get Innocent Zero, had a Dumbledore fight, and still didn't get to see him interact with Mash for real. Like, we see one attack and then that's it.
I
was so hoping for more.
I think that's why they're teasing it for season 3. That's a tease for season 3.
Oh, there better be a season 3.
Oh, definitely gonna be a season 3. Because there's no way they're doing that fight. There's no way they're doing that fight in one episode. That's not happening.
This anime needs to be completed. This one needs to be completed.
Well, I only want a season 3 because the dude that has not made it to a single fight on time yet, I need to see what his abilities are. At some point in time, he's got to prove to me that he's even worth being on the screen. Because what are we seeing him for if he's not even a part of the show? Yeah. Like everybody else has had camera time.
We did see a little bit of his skills when he was trying to fight Mash.
Yeah, when he first fights Mash, right? We see it. Yep. That's the only time.
When?
That's season 1, right? Is it season 1?
No, that's in that season. That was right before. Yeah, right before he was getting ready to fight the music dude.
Yeah, that's an episode. That's right before that music dude fight.
It's like episode 5 or something.
Mm-hmm. No, that's not him. No, wait, what?
Yeah, that's him.
Because he gave him the test about the fire, and I think after that test, we see a small fight, not even super long.
Oh no, that don't count.
That don't really count, but it's the only time
he didn't even do anything with his actual gifts.
No, but
you did.
He was just like, yeah, look, I'm strong. Like, I need to see his ability. I need to see his divine abilities.
Yeah.
Like, why are you the second strongest person in this entire world? Like, because you just a color person to me right now. You just late to everything. Talk a big game, ain't did nothing. Like, I'm sorry for harping on this, but it's been 4 episodes of this dude being on his way.
Chris, go ahead. What do you think about this middle section?
Bro, like Deon said it all.
Yep.
Like, honestly, because my biggest gripe was like, dude, you get to the stadium, you didn't even free any of the kids, and then you leave.
Well,
and then when I'm sorry, Brandon, but I have to say this. At the end, when you freaking get to him, he's already on his deathbed. Like, bro, you was late again.
Okay. I will say this. I don't disagree with both of y'all in this sense. Ultimately, he couldn't free the kids. He couldn't free the kids until Incident Zero left. Because Incident Zero breaks that barrier
But
of the kids being unfrozen.
let me ask you this though, B, because I know you're finna make an excuse for him. But let me ask you this: when he finally gets there, if you finally get to a fight that was supposed to involve your closest person, the closest person in the world to you, would you let this kid go help that person versus you going to help that person?
No.
He even said in his mind, he said, "Oh, besides me, you the only person that can do it." Well, besides you, go do it then.
Ultimately, I don't disagree with that either. I would have thought it probably would have been better if
There's a meme that I'm trying to respect your show, but it goes like, I smell. Fill in the blanks for me. Fill in the
Yep.
blanks.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, ultimately, what I would have happened, I would have had him, the Bureau of Investigation, go from straight when the kid got frozen in the air, all the way to the headmaster, and did not stop.
Yes, do not stop. What are you
Dude,
stopping for?
I get why he stopped. He was asking about what's going on, but you saw the explosion. He probably saw what happened.
He knew what was going on first. The little boy came and told him.
He told him. So ultimately, I would have kept going, just get to the end zero, because you know where end zero probably is.
Dude had the author in his ear the whole time. Like, dude, you knew exactly what was going on.
Exactly.
Like,
From
see?
you were the first one. You knew it was happening before they did. Why would you go there? But Mask can find them with his no power having self, but you can't.
But it's funny. Matt runs to him, gets in the air, and also just stays in the air the whole time. That's all going. And okay, all right, fair enough. I get you.
With his wily coyote feet.
All right.
But you
No,
couldn't.
Mash is black. You can't tell me Mash is a black dude.
I think they all kind of got some color to them.
I don't know,
right.
man.
Except for Finn. I don't claim him.
We'll get to that. We'll get to this probably Finn in a second because that's funny. Let's get into this back half. This back half is just kind of only there to serve one purpose, the monster. But I'll tell you why. So all the kids get unfrozen. They all start seeing the monster. They're all like, we can't really fight this thing. So they all just start bolting. The one thing I do love, so it's the puppet guy, the guy that has the weird demon eye, and the girl with the pink hair. And Chris mentioned it. Why does she sound like a broken record? And why does the demon guy, the guy who's the puppet guy, go, that's Innocent Zero's power? And she's like, wait, we can't. Okay. And she's kind of like, and it's like, okay, fair enough. And then Finn mentions that thing is like super strong. We see the rocks fly at them. The rocks fly out. Gravity Dude destroys those rocks with the help of Margaret, and they kind of go back and forth. Our blonde-haired main character that knows MASH, pre-play says MASH be safe. The red-headed guy tries to use magic. He tries to use like a couple fireballs. Doesn't do anything because the barrier stops them, which is the same barrier that covered up our monk dude, and the Kane mentions that. Also to the fact that we need to go find the caster that did this, because then if we kill the caster, that this won't happen. Margaret and the sister guy dude has a little talk, kind of saying what they need to do. Margaret's up for a fight. Red guy's trying to find the caster. Everybody else is trying to get out the arena. Everybody. And the monster's getting closer and closer, and Finn's like, what we do now? Like, he's just kind of staring at the monster. He doesn't know what's going on. Everybody's trying to get through the arena. Mash gets to the chain, pulls it, and everybody's like, who's pulling the chain? How's the monster getting pulled back? They see Mash. And so it's Finn and the blonde girl just kind of staring at Mash. Mash is doing a pretty good job getting the chain. All the students start watching. And this is where the context comes in this. You hear a couple of students mumble throughout this little part saying, well, he doesn't have magic. He's not one of us. And we don't claim him as one of us. Then ultimately out of this scene, you get one kid saying, and it's kind of funny. He goes, he's like, wait, at least he's trying to help us. And also, if he didn't help us, we all probably not be living right now. So for now, let him do it. Basically admitting the fact that none of them could have done anything. They're just Mash is the only one that's been trying anything to this point. Yes. So Mash pulls the chain stronger, starts bleeding in the hands. We don't actually we see blood spurt out from the hands. We don't actually see the fingers break or anything. Then everybody starts cheering. And the thing that Deon doesn't like about this episode, and the thing we get right at the end here, Finn is skeptical. Finn's so skeptical to the point where he's like, should I even? And he finally says, Mash, you can do it. And he says it like 3 times. Mash gets the strength to pull the monster back. We hear this epic rap song, by the way, in between this, like him pulling it back and hear Finn saying that, which sounds amazing. I think one of the best things about this show, about the ending here. Then Mash takes the thing, pulls it back, picks it up in the air, swings it around, throws it like a shot put behind him, and it blows up. Ultimately, all the students start cheering. Finn and the blonde hair girl go and see him. Finn's like, "Thank you. Are you doing okay? How are you? I'm good. And thank you for saving us." And then the blonde hair girl goes up to him and is like, "That was awesome, Max. My husband," which she said this is the first time we heard her say that line in a while. It's funny, she has been frozen for the past 3 episodes, but fair enough. And then she goes, here, take me. And she said,
you already hear him munching on the cream puff in the background.
And she said, eat up, and you hear the cream puff munching, and she's like, has kissy face, and she's like, and you just hear him chomping, and she's like, what's going on? She opens her eyes. Oh, he's eating cream puff. Really? All right. I love that scene only for one reason, because I think she thought, literally, you could kiss me right now. Go ahead, like, and he doesn't get that cue. But it's like, I should never got those cues. What do you expect? What do you expect?
I think he gets the cues. He just ignores it.
Just ignores them.
I think he does ignore them partially too. I think he does get the cues, but he just ignores them. Which I'm like, okay, cool, ignore them, fair. Then we go back to the bureau head talking to the kid. I don't know how the kid got to where the headmaster was laying on the bed, but okay, fair enough. And tells the bureau head the kid tells the bureau head everything that's gone on, and the bureau head tells the headmaster, by the way, Mash did it. He saved the kids. Everything's fine. And the bureau head said the mushroom head did it, and mentioned the fact that even though he's been exiled, even though he doesn't have magic, Mash has the best heart out of everybody, and that's what's going to keep him going. And that's how the episode ends. Chris, I'm going to start off with you. What do you think about this back half, and what would you rate Magic of Muscles episode 23?
So, Brandon, let's just be honest with you. You asked me what did I think about this episode. Here's the thing, I couldn't think. So let's just start it off with that. This back half, the best thing about it was probably the song in the fight. Like, okay, yeah, the song. Because I was in the back of my head, I was like, oh man, that sounds like Static Shock. Yeah, superheroes. That was the only thing that was going through my head, bro. The rest was like, yeah, like, okay, I see where this fight is going. Yay. The fight's over. Okay. Mash literally swings a dude that's, I don't know, the size of the Empire State Building, like, and then he explodes with no, like, okay, it's like, yeah, bro, my brain was turned off, and I was thinking playing Static Shock in the brain, bro. That's how that episode went for me. So therefore, I'm going to give this episode a 4.
Okay, that's not.
And the only reason it gets that 4 is because the music was pretty dope. I like the music.
All right, Deon, go ahead. Give me what do you think about this back half of the episode, and what would you rate Magic of Muscles episode 23?
Back half of the episode, garbage.
Fair enough.
I was trying to think of some type of saving grace, but man, it was so irritating. Everything was cringy. Every line was cringy. Like, you get Finn, where's they're sitting in the middle of the arena, like where everybody's facing. So even though you were frozen in time, you woke up facing them. then you have to turn your head to look for like the plot of this or the story of this entire episode was completely pointless compared to this back half. There's no tie to it. There's no like he could have released that monster in the beginning and then that would have been the episode for me. But you've wasted 20 minutes of an episode on a bunch of I'm trying to say it without saying bad words.
Oh, a bunch of fluff, a bunch
Let's
of
call it
BS.
heat.
Yeah, a bunch of
yeah.
fluff.
Call it heat.
Yeah, I get it.
You know
I
what?
get
From
it.
this point on, I'm just gonna call it a studio being cheap because I believe
Yeah.
the animators did what they did when the studio was being cheap.
But then you give me this decent episode before this, though. You give me the decent episode before this, and then you come in half cheap.
See?
You come
See?
in cheap. Like it just makes this one that much worse. So I'm gonna give it like a 2.
Okay.
1.
All right.
0.5. Something like that.
You can't get there's something. Well, there. I mean, there isn't. There's nothing of 0.5, but I get. Okay, so I'm gonna be the outlier on this a little bit. I didn't think this episode was as terrible as the previous ones. So before the last episode, the one prior to that, I didn't think it that bad. You change it. You do the tonal shift. I'm cool with it because tonal shift actually fixes one thing. And it fixes it very easily. It will fix the comedy and fix the weirdness a little bit enough where it doesn't feel awkward. I think. I do agree with Deon. I do agree with Deon. There's a couple lines when Finn says, "Where's Dot?" and "Where's the other dude?" Like you say, he's looking straight ahead. You could see him. That's supposed to be a comedic moment, even though it doesn't work out. I think the other one that I think works a lot better though is when the girl tries to do it at the end of the episode, the blonde-haired girl. That one is normal.
That works better.
That works better because she's done it throughout the season. That's the first time Finn has done something comedic,
and we know her to be
that way,
constantly looking for and
correct.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
Finn irritated me this entire season, and this last episode just was like took the cake.
I think if Finn didn't get the episode, if Finn didn't get that comedic thing here, the rest of the episode works fine for the most part.
They could have easily put him in a cream puff and be like, "Yes, do it for the cream puff," and that would have been hysterically much better.
That would have been. That would have made sense
because Mash looked at him and he looks like a cream puff. Okay, that actually makes sense because Mash eats cream puff all the time.
When he screamed that line, "You can do it, Mash!" Like, bro, it gives me Adam Sandler.
You can
do it. Like,
yeah,
bro. Why does this matter to Mash right now? Like, you are not that important to this story to be like.
But it also ties back to an episode when Mash talks about it's the Mash and Friends, I think episode what it's called. It's episode I think it's 20. Where they talk about like him being friends with Finn. Or Finn and Friends. There we go. That's the one I'm looking at. Finn and Friends. It ties back to episode 17 about Mash saying you're one of my good friends. So you get a reason for that. Ultimately to say all this, I'm gonna have to give this like a 9. I can't do that. Deon, hear me out. I know Chris hasn't.
I'm trying. That's why I muted.
Chris said the same way the whole time. When you see the video version of this, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna be kind of surprised how this looks. But I'll continue. The only reason I give this a 9.
You can't see the little twitches on my face on the camera. Which is like okay.
Yeah. Reason I give this a 9. At least it fixed a big problem for me. It fixed the weirdness in the comedy, and it gave Mash a reason to be in certain places now. Ultimately, I do agree with you, Deon. I don't think Mash took over the fight with Zero. The fight with the headmaster and Zero kind of redundant because you knew Master was going to fight his father anyway. So the headmaster getting beat up and almost put into his life gives Mash more ability to go back and help him. Yeah, that's motivation. Good
we still didn't
motivation.
see. We still didn't get the fight though.
Still don't get the fight.
Nope.
So that's coming down in season 3. I do say season 3 is coming. The other thing it does here too, even though Finn can be annoying, even though Finn has no purpose being in some of these episodes.
Oh, please have a saving grace for Finn.
I think the only Finn saving grace, the crowd start cheering for Mash. Finn is doubting that Mash can do this. Even though what Finn has seen Mash do a lot of crazy things. Mash can hear it and understands even he's behind them. I don't think it's supposed to work that way, but it is working that way.
So let me ask you this, B-Mac. I'm gonna ask you this, brother to brother. Let me ask you this.
By the way, if you see the video version, Chris turned his camera on and muted himself, so he's trying to say he cannot say something.
So, if you have somebody who has been rooting for you the entire season, who's been saving your bottom half the entire season,
saving your bacon, okay, yep.
And the one moment that he's saving everybody, you start to doubt him. But I'm supposed to move for your cheers and you doubt, bruh. You should already know I can do this. I've been doing it the entire season to save you.
But here's the thing. It's the same trope you would see in something like, and I'm gonna evoke this very easily, Harry Potter. When Potter himself doubted himself, he had a friend behind him. I can go to Superman. I can go to X-Men. I can go to a lot of things that have done this trope before.
But Harry Potter wasn't battling godlike abilities every episode.
That is also true. That is also true.
Harry Potter didn't save his friends in every episode from everything they ever encountered.
Here's the thing. At least this episode wasn't a bunch of cheese. I will say that. If this was no real plot point and it was just a bunch of comedy, it wouldn't have worked. That's why the previous episode
there was a plot point?
Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you again, B-Mac. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
If there was, I missed it. So that's a serious question.
I think the main plot point to this is that Mash has the whole school behind him. No matter what happens, he has the school behind him. The school is
okay, so they're erasing the prejudiceness just because he saved their bacon.
Correct.
Yeah.
And ultimately,
back then, y'all didn't want me.
The line he says he's gonna get accepted by everybody, that line comes into play here at the end.
Yeah.
It's not a great way. It's not a great way to do it, but it did do it. It's not perfect. It's not something I would do that way. You do it better. There's better ways to do it, but it does do it.
But you know what that does to me? That erases the entire reason of him becoming a divine
visionary.
So now why do we have this show anymore?
That's the only thing. I wonder how they're going to tie back the fact he's going to come. I ultimately believe if he beats Innocent Zero, he's becoming a divine visionary.
Oh, they gonna put him a divine visionary because he beat this monster, because that's the end of the challenge. There's no more challenge. He was the only one that could do it.
Well, Innocent Zero is the final boss, basically.
Yeah, but boss couldn't even beat him, so
I liked it better when they still had the students, like he was still going around beating up the different guilds and the students. I like that better. Like, they should have stuck.
It made more sense.
It made more sense. It made more sense.
And then slowly, like, had another season in between, like this. Dude.
I think they're gonna start the ramp up here because they know if they didn't do it here and left the silliness, season 3 is all gonna be serious. I think you slowly start the ramp up, and then season 3 is gonna be the full on. We're getting to the end of this. Okay, yeah.
If you get too serious now, you leave me nowhere else to go. And then, on the other hand, because you've gotten so serious now, I can't go back to you just fighting students. box the strongest person in the world, you can't go back to just boxing
You
students to
you
become
can't go
in this rat race.
you can't go back to the
Mhm.
fact he's gonna go fight the Sand Cane dude, who's one of the
Yeah.
strongest like
When they were all
masters.
standing right there and couldn't do anything to this monster, they
Correct.
all ran. So you
Correct.
can't tell me that he can fight anybody in this school to become the Divine Vision. He has to be him.
Yeah.
Season 3 should open up at his ceremony saying, "Yeah, thank you for being a Divine Visionary."
Yep.
Yeah. I hey, the reason I love this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, is for these two gentlemen. I don't mind the fact I can sound like I'm crazy. I do sound a little crazy, but ultimately, here's the thing. I'll say this right now. Mash will be at the top 3 next week just because the way this episode rolls. And here's the other problem with this, and I'll say it with top 4, fair enough. So, yeah, okay, fair enough. Here's the thing: a show that does this better, it ultimately does it better in every single way. I think Reincarnated Slime does it better. I think ultimately, because here's the thing: at least the comedy hits. They've done a couple comedy things that make sense, but also they can be serious in the next episode.
Yep.
But you've built that way to where it's not it can go back and forth. You haven't built MASH that way to go back and forth, but now you've built MASH to be serious. You have to stick with it. It's hard. They're going to be sticking with, but you have to stick with it.
That's why they gave him the cream puff at the end, so they can be like, "Oh no, we're still gonna give you jokes."
And the her trying to get, because basically what she said, basically the joke at the end where she's like, "You can just have me." You could take that multiple ways. You could take it the fact like, oh, you can have a kiss. You could just take me off my feet. You can do a multitude of things, but he just ignores that entirely.
Depends on where your mind is at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Mhm.
I'm trying to stay within that. Very
Mhm. Too much gushing over magical girls, huh, B?
I'm not gonna mention what. Yeah, no.
That's a whole other can of worms, my brother.
Yep.
Oh man.
But here's the thing: if they wrap this up in one episode, I'll be more mad. I would be more pissed if they wrapped this up in one episode and we're not getting season 3. Because then you're telling me you didn't. You were just getting to a plot point, and Zero's going to come back saying, "Oh, you beat that monster. Let's have a fight now." What? No. You need to give
what
me.
would they even do in this last episode? This seemed like a final episode to me.
There's one more. It's 24, so it's 12.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, what are you? So there has to be just a
I think Mash need to go.
mall rap.
Mash will try to go.
Straight comedy.
I think Mash tries to go find Innocent Zero. So our tease at the end of the next episode will be he trying to go find Innocent Zero, or I agree with Chris. It's just gonna be a bunch of comedy stuff to play off of.
What if it's his divine visionary ceremony, and that's it? Like they're done with the show. Like, yeah, we're gonna make you a divine visionary, which is all you wanted. Now you don't care about Innocent Zero anymore. Headmaster's still alive.
But then Innocent Zero's just sitting out there like a non-plot point that's need to be finished.
He get to go live his solo life with his granddad.
Well, I mean, he wanted to be the perfect human. That whole line doesn't make much sense now. But nevertheless, I don't know. I like I said, I might be crazy for saying this is getting a high mark from me, but it's one of the better episodes I've done since for a while. So I don't really know, but also I think you got the only other thing you could do is get rid of the recap part. The recap at the beginning doesn't make sense, and then some of the middle stuff doesn't make sense. But I digress. We're about to get into a better show anyway, because episode 11 episode 11 of Soul Leveling was amazing. So go ahead and get that
Finally, something good.
I think I've never seen the three of us get burned out by a show that we thought was going to be decent after me and Chris have watched season 1.
Man, this show
complete turnaround from season 1. Like, what the hell?
This show is a different show than season 1.
But I will say this,
different show.
I do agree with Chris. If we do get a season 3, I don't think it should be anytime soon. But also, I think I agree with Chris. Another studio should pick up the show. Somebody else take it from A1. because A1 don't need it if you're gonna do soul leveling season 2.
Because I feel like they were extremely cheap with it. Like the only reason the things didn't flow or didn't work the way they will because they didn't pay everybody the way they were supposed to, and this is them getting messed up.
See, I think they tried to do something. I think they tried to do something with this, and they succeeded in their first season, and then the strike, and then your writers come back writing crap.
Yeah,
Yep.
I could see that. I could see that. That would be something. That would be something. But I hope you have episode 11 of Soul Leveling. I'm gonna say this right now. I hope you're ready for just most chaotic episode in a while. In a sense that it's not chaotic in a bad way. It's chaotic in a good way, but also chaotic in a way where they're like, man, you could stop this at any point, but you haven't stopped it yet. All right, fine. Keep going. And also look out for a couple story things. There are a couple story things that are in here, which I thought were really interesting. But those are the main kind of points for this. In a second, I will say 3, 2, 1, and then we'll get going. Gentlemen, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. A knight who defends an empty throne. Or a knight who defeats an empty throne. Okay, so it's a job change quest.
This is a tasteful recap.
This is
Say
what
again?
recap's supposed to be.
This is a tasteful recap.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, that's a repeat of what we've seen this, but we did a recap for us.
Now, how this gate opens up is purely epic.
Oh yeah.
Well, actually, isn't the point is that gate would open up no matter where he was, so it doesn't matter. There's a
It's the
here.
idea of how it opened, where it's just like
Just
seems like a
super cool.
small cataclysmic event.
Uh-huh.
Freaking supernova happening right in front of you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love the lighting for that where they show the night off.
Hey, Deon, we got to get with Jeff to play this song.
You think it's an easy play?
I could do this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Actually,
too difficult.
It's not too difficult. But is there any guitar in this technically?
Yep.
Oh, right there.
Yeah.
Okay. It's funny. Most of the first half of this is all drums. That's why I have to ask that question. And that's all you really hear now.
Yeah. And then there's synth, so you can play the
there's a
synth.
You can hear the synth in the back.
Do, 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 do. Not me trying to control my Xbox with my mouse.
You know, you technically could do that.
Yeah, but it's not connected. It's just funny because I'm used to having it on my computer.
I will say, I like a good song that does one thing very well. It's hard to do because a lot of times I'm like using this instrument. Use a bass guitar more. If you use a bass guitar more, it sounds really cool instead of using a normal guitar a lot of times.
Yeah. I'm not gonna take that personal though, B-Mac, as a guitarist.
No, I mean, but here's the thing: if the song makes the bass guitar sound like if the song it can make where the drums and stuff sound normal, more normalized, and the guitars in the background, the bass can come out with like deeper notes at times too. That's what
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm just glad I play bass too, so it's okay.
No, fair enough.
That's why I didn't say anything when you made that comment. I was like, really?
Most people play both anyway. Most people know how to play both usually.
This hallway is beautiful.
Oh yeah, this scene this is like out of a castle, like a dark, like you're walking to a throne room
Yeah.
and you don't know what you're walking into. But I would have stocked up on potions or something. I would have said that much.
Now remember the dungeon said that he can't
Can't
take
use
any
them.
potion. Right?
Oh, he couldn't. Okay.
Yeah, no potion, and he can't use that skill that helps him heal himself.
Yeah, full recovery spell.
By the way, listen to those sword hits. Those sword hits, my. And then some of the just the hitting on the armor sounds beautiful.
Yeah, when he stabs him, you can actually hear it, him trying to force it through. That rip.
Fatality. Fatality. Jeez.
Oh, you knew from Mortal Kombat.
You need some strong. You need some strong hands for that to rip off the place.
Oh my goodness! Can we put him in the next Mortal Kombat?
No, they would not allow that.
Yes.
No anime can be like, "Can we have your character for Mortal Kombat?" They look at Mortal Kombat like,
okay, then put him in Soul Calibur.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That one I'll take.
Or just give me a better jump force.
Yeah. Okay, that line by the father's interesting, and they're about to show you off of me, which I really like. Look at this shot of fly on the wall. You see the two plates and then his plate. He hasn't touched any of his food. It's amazing.
But it goes to show the dynamic in his family.
Yeah.
The money makers.
But it's funny. He asked Shahane to be part of of his group, and Shahane turned him down. Both of them down.
Everybody turned him down.
Correct.
Yeah, but everybody might have turned him down, but the fact that he got that one man. See, I had already started picking up on stuff.
That's why I didn't say that. He was just about to say it.
He's about to say it for you. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how much strength do you need to rip off? Oh, never mind. I'm not going to ask that question because that question's probably insane.
I'm about to say, Brandon,
have you
ever popped your neck before?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about the same. It's about the same as popping your neck. Yeah, I get it.
It was like ripping cardboard for him, though. Mm.
Is he drinking water? Oh, yeah, the water.
Because the monsters are still dropping stuff that he can use.
Mm-hmm. body armor. And then
Yeah,
That's
that
the
is
coolest
cool.
armor.
Yep.
does he get the helmet?
Knowing what's coming up, I would have tried to put on the helmet too.
What'd you say?
Knowing what's
There was
coming up,
there
I
was
would have
no
wanted to
helmet.
put on the see. I should definitely would have been looking for one.
There was no helmet.
Not
But
there anyway, but I
there's
get
a
what Chris
reason
is
why.
saying. I get what Chris is saying. Like you would try to find one if you were normally if a normal person was trying to do this.
But he doesn't know
Yep.
what's coming up.
That's true. By the way, those doors must be super heavy. How are you pushing those doors? And you get that gust of wind coming at them, and they just close back automatically.
You think those like big stone doors made way back then?
Mm-hmm.
And here we go with the 3D animation.
Look at the battle room for this. Like I know the new Soul End game came out already, or it's out on early access. At this point, I want to try to just play to see what it's like.
What is it?
The solo leveling game we talked about on the podcast.
But you said you have early access?
No, it's out on early access.
Oh, okay.
I want to try it because I heard it looks based on the videos I've seen people like playing it and just people talking like different like gameplay things. It looks good. If it's anything like this, anything close to this, I'd be kind of okay with it. And red enemies are bad. Need to be high enough level for them.
Ooh, yeah.
My word, the sound design for this is so good.
I would have loved to be in that studio with you.
Oh, absolutely. If I saw this in like a theater with good surround sound or IMAX, jeez. Just for this episode.
Ooh, the animation.
You doubt you can win without a
Yeah,
weapon.
this is
And he's like, okay, all right.
That's what you want to do? All right.
We're gonna go hand to hand combat.
I took all of my stuff out now with.
like the characteristics they gave Igris in this. Oh man.
Yeah, Igris looks amazing. Based on the model, I remember Igris is really they did a good job with him.
Didn't they say they took some scenes right out of the webtoon?
Yeah, for the most part.
Pretty much, yeah.
This is new. I don't think we see this scene this early, if I remember correctly. This doesn't happen this early.
I'm talking about from the Ingress sprite. I think they said they took some of the scenes directly.
From the model. Oh, absolutely. I would have to because the Igris fight is so interesting in the manga, or even in the mono or the webtoon. Absolutely.
But
it's
isn't
one of the most
animated?
iconic.
Yes, webtoon's animated. Partially
It's
animated.
like a picture book.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
picture
like
book with.
they said they took some of those picture book scenes out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, just animated them. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Man, the animation. Look at this cape in the wind, like with the. Oh, jeez. All right. And two fighters staying up. Oh, in one fell swoop too.
Ooh. Ooh.
I mean, all right.
Ooh.
That's cool. That's good. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Good thing you have that armor. Without that armor, you would probably not feeling well right now.
He'd probably be non-existent right about now.
Oh, correct.
Ooh.
Look, this is flowing. This is flowing like a dance. Like
Oh. There goes your rock throw again.
yes.
Ooh.
All right, to the taste.
Ding. Uh-oh. Now you pissed me off. Ooh.
Why was that a fighting game combo? That was not what I expected there.
Bro, like, and I mean, it's a flawless combo.
Yes, it was. Like you just did that with no more breaks or anything. You just kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna do this, and this, and throw you the wall. Keep doing this. Okay. Do you want to keep going? I know she's studying, and then he left food for him. Oh, the nurse. They did tie this back in. Oh, the mom. That's why he tied that back in. But the nurse is also there's a nurse also there too. You could tie it back in. I'm just gonna call my sword, and I'm about to finish you.
Beautiful scene.
I ain't done yet. And how you holding that sword with just one hand?
You see the
It's like
armor around it? Nope. Mm.
yeah, I do, but even the
Oh.
You
armor,
see?
the armor wasn't that strong.
Take
Ooh.
note of where he is when he does that.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah, that comes into play.
Beautiful scene, man.
Oh, keep running, just run the wall, just tag him like a linebacker.
Mm-hmm. That's
That
that
was put in
moment
there
when
for the
you start
readers.
seeing red.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. And this is
Yo,
something
his
I don't
stats
like it.
going up.
I don't like a
Yes.
fatal frame or like, oh my.
Ooh. Scenes like that maybe need a punching bag. Ooh.
You can check out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you definitely won. He did. I don't think there's nothing you can do. $1,500,
Ooh.
1.5 million gold. The helmet from Crimson. Now he,
Hey.
and now having a full armor set boosts his strength and vitality by 20 points.
And physical damage, and magic check, and agility.
Yeah, don't give him another teleporting stone. The last time he had one, he dropped it.
Let's go. Come on, get your
Good
Call of
luck.
Duty on, bro.
That the system said good luck.
When the system say
Man.
The system ain't playing. The system ain't playing around. They want to get really strong. Why is the one in a maid outfit? Okay, I want to talk about these characters. Some of the outfits are cool. Nope, you can't. That maid pretty much saw that stuff out of this. Oh, it's only been 5 minutes. It felt like it's been an hour.
And it gets dropped out of his hand again.
Yep. And that's where the episode ends. I hate the cliffhanger. I'm gonna put it to you this way, gentlemen. I think I haven't seen a fight in anime where I'm not like so invested to the point where I want to be like, man, you could have just gave me that, and I would have been happy. But oh no, this episode doesn't just give you that; it gives you more. By the way, Deon did something at the end, right before this ending. He said, "Remember the throne." Well, that throne comes into play because the next episode is called Arise. The next episode is called Arise. So this is going to be very interesting to see what happens in the next episode because we have you kind of see where it's headed. That's the last episode of the season. But let's get into this. Let's get into this episode.
This is going to be so cool.
This episode kicks off with a recap, a very good recap, by the way, of what Jinnu has gone through. Jinnu's gone through multiple things to get this job. Talk about the job chain quest. He finally opens up the thing to do the job chain quest, and like the guy said, the portal for this looks grandiose. Bunch of lightning comes down, purple circle opens and he walks through. Then we cut from that to Jin-Ho. Jin-Ho is talking to his father. Jin-Ho's father is kind of talking about what, how's everything going, what's going on with the party and everything. They're waiting on one more person. They've already started eating, but they're waiting on, he mentions he's waiting on his brother. This little section here of, Jin-Ho really not knowing what to tell his father and how to tell his father everything is really kind of interesting. We'll get back to it in a second. But then it cuts again. It cuts back to Jinnu. Jinnu is in the dungeon and about to walk through, kind of sees what he needs to do. And he sees these knights. These knights come upon him, and just the sword play in this. The sword play and how the sword hits feel and the metal to metal feel. It was amazing. It was really good. And he finally fights someone off. The way he fights it off, he's like, okay, I can't hit it with the sword. What do you know what I do? I'll do like I did with the spider boss. And it literally rips its head off the armor to end it. And then more and more come. And the last thing I really want to talk from this, after the more and more come, he kind of knows what he has to do to fight them off, and he fights more of them off. And they'll end it right before we get to the second half of the dinner with Jin-Ho, his father, and his brother. Chris, I'm going to start off with you. What do you think about this first 5 minutes or so of this episode?
I mean, what do you want me to say? I mean, I'm in shock because it started out just like the first, one of the first dungeons that he visited.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that the knight was an orange knight, and then that was him going into the dungeon. I do like the way the dungeon opens up like a cataclysmic event. Like, that was epic. And don't mistake my demeanor right now. I'm trying to save it for the end.
Don't blame me there. I do not blame you there. Deon, what do you think about this first part of this episode?
Chris, I can't stage you, bro. Don't mind my demeanor. I'm waiting for the ending. Yeah. Let's just. It was good. Let's just.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't blame both of y'all. The middle, ladies and gentlemen, the middle of this episode to the ending of this episode is just kind of insane. And here's the thing: the best part for me, outside the ending in the middle, the fight, the first fight, and the ending fight, this part here with Jin-Ho, they have a conversation, and you see they're eating at the table. Jin-Ho really hasn't touched his food, but the way they tell you he hasn't touched his food is doing the old trick of having. There's a couple terms for it: fly on the wall, wild code, or what I know it as well as like wild Cody cam, where it's like up in the sky. It's for like above you, so you see everything below. But that's a wrestling thing when they did it for a wrestling match. One of the commentators called it a wild Cody cam. And it shows the fact that he hasn't touched his food because he's so embarrassed in front of his dad and his brother. In the sense that his brother goes, "Hey," Dad asked how his brother asked him, "How's everything going, by the way, with getting the new heroes and everything?" He mentioned Shahane said no, a bunch of other people said no, and you hear Jin-Ho in his mind go, "Oh, he doesn't know about my boss. He doesn't know about Jinnu." And the brother turns to him and goes, "By the way, younger brother, Jin-Ho, stay out of my way. Don't get in my way what I'm trying to do." And Jin-Ho doesn't fight back, which is so kind of interesting, just the way this dynamic is, because he can't speak up in his family, which is so crazy. But then we go back to the dungeon. Jinnu fights off the rest of these monsters, beats this mage, finally beats him up, beats a couple other things. Kai can take a rest finally, relax, kind of get some things through his head. Then we see the head of the White Tiger Guild walking somewhere. He walks outside. They are walking to the rest of these hunters. They're about to get on a plane to go somewhere. We don't know where. We kind of get that. He says, "Oh, you have already assembled. Okay, cool. We can get going." Before they go, he makes a phone call. We don't see the actual phone call yet, but he does make a phone call. Then we see Jinnu kind of looking around, seeing if he find anything. He found some armor. He puts the armor on. The armor is actually really good, ultimately. he gets this boss door, and this boss door is huge. It's big. He pushes the door open, and you can tell it feels weighty because the way he pushes it open. And then ultimately, he uh, he does something kind of interesting. When he pushes the door open, you feel this gust of wind, and this gust of wind kind of comes at him. He walks in, and then the door closes behind him. And then we see the red armored guy waiting for what's going to happen. I'm going to stop it right there. Then we'll get to the fight for this, because this fight's pretty epic. Gentlemen, what do you think about this next part? Because the big thing from this is something I enjoy, a story thing with Jinho. I'm going to start off with Deon for this. Deon, what do you think about this next part?
Beautifully made, beautifully crafted. I'm glad A1 did actually put some time behind this episode. They did their thing on this episode. We get the fights with the soldiers, the spy, or the stuff guy, the mage, and it's back to showing Jinwoo as he grows. And I love that. I love character development. I love, making the main character struggle without making them look weak. So they did a good display of that. So when he got to that door, as a reader, I already know what was happening, so my heart kind of dropped a little bit in anticipation of what's going to happen next. So, yeah, it was good.
Chris, what about you? What do you think about this next little part? This part here with Jinho, the conversation with Dad's brother, and then just seeing Jinwoo get ready to go into that boss door and get the glimpse of what he's about to fight next.
So, from my point of view, I had to liven up a little bit so I can get ready to what's coming. But from my point of view, it seems like there's a family dynamic going on, and it's based around income and money. But the fact is that I don't know what's coming, but it seems like there's something that's going to happen in that family that's going to cause money to shift and things to happen for everybody. because
Yeah,
because because the two brothers in the same market, and they're going to be competing in some form or fashion. So yeah.
yeah,
And just so you know, Chris, as a reader, we don't know what's happening at this point yet either. The anime is giving us more clips into the future of this point than we have when we're reading it from this point.
because I think they added the family scene with Jinho. That is added.
Yep.
That is added in here. The scene with the guy from the head of the guild, is also added in here when they're about to get on the plane. So they're adding things that are teasing season 2 stuff, but also giving us context for things later down the road. So it's not something. I like the fact they're doing that without messing with the overall story as much.
Yeah, I like how they're doing it. The story that they're showing within the story, it's awesome.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to our at entree first. This fight with Igris, I don't know how to explain this well enough, but I'll just say this: if you don't watch Soul Leveling, watch this. Just watch that fight. Just watch that fight, and you'll see why this fight's so good. So he gets to Igris, and they're going back and forth. Igris uses his speed. Jimmy's using his power, and ultimately, this is a stalemate for the first part of this until Igris takes over and just does like a literal wombo combo on this dude to the point where Igris doesn't know what. Like Igris is kind of just like taken aback by how Jimmy's fighting, and then they're kind of like, you know what, we'll kind of get back at each other for a bit, and as they get back at each other, Jinu's like, you know what? I'm gonna drop my weapons. He drops both his takes out both his weapons, and he's about to go fisticuffs. You know what Igris does? Igris does like, okay, fair enough. Sticks the sword to the ground, takes off his cape, takes the thing from behind him. I think there were two tinier swords, throws them on the ground. I'm doing a contracted version of this because basically, like I said, you want to go watch this fight for yourself because this fight's beautifully animated,
Yeah.
beautifully told, and well enough knowing so you can see what they've done. I'm gonna start off with Deon for this. Deon, what did you think of this fight with Icarus? Up until we get to see the head of the guild and his assistant talking.
Man, it was so sorry. It was so beautiful to be able to see this animated and drafted in a way where it's like watching it for the very first time, seeing it all over again. And I've watched this episode a couple times before today because it was so good. But still watching it right now, it was like, oh my God, the animation is great. Shout out to A1 for that. The story is great. It feels like you walked up to a fight against a stronger opponent who knows they're stronger. So they're giving you this chance of like, all right, let's test your metal. Let's see what you worth, you know. Because when he drops, he didn't have to drop his stuff. He could have wiped him off the map. But he said, you know what? Let's do this. The chivalry is not dead in this world. I love it.
Chris, what do you think about this section with the first part with Icarus?
Yo, I put it this way. Everybody's heard the term of a pinata before. Yo, the first few, like the first 10, 15 minutes, bro, this dude is a literal pinata. Like, you are getting tossed and smacked across this. Bro, we saw how big this room was, and they even made it in 3D just so we could.
Yeah, you could just see the destruction.
You can't even see on camera. Bro.
Hey, I don't blame both of y'all.
Bro, I mean, look, and then when you get the idea to go fight, to go hand to hand, this dude, like, it's a reason why they can't show Ingress with a face, because he would have made that face like, for real. For real. So I mean, he literally throws it all to the ground, bro, and it's like, all right, and then continues doing you like a pinata. Like, bro, we literally see him do a cartwheel with him. Come on now.
That was a Baki moment. He turned into Baki Hama for a second, like, all right, let's go.
And here's the thing about this fight, ladies and gentlemen, that I love. I said at the beginning of this episode, the sword hits were really, really kind of great sounding. Oh, here, the fight with Icarus, the sword hits are at level 11. The sword hits sound amazing. Also, the fact, here's the thing Chris mentioned. Janu does a cartwheel at one point in the beginning half of this fight. What does Icarus do? Icarus is matching him. Literally does ballerina speed at this dude with no record,
Bro, he performed the entire Swan Lake on his neck, bro. Come on now.
Like, and then to cap this off, I love the fact there are two separate corners of the room, and you show this so well. Two separate corners of the room, and you zoom out.
And you see him go across the entire screen, which means he got his foot whooped.
We don't see it until after we see the scene with the guy, but you zoom out and you leave it like that. And you know what? Junior's like, you know what? I can't beat this dude.
No, but the first hit that he got on Ingress was the funniest thing.
Yes, it was.
Bro, that was like for those for people who have seen Major Pain, to me that scene was the scene where he eats the cupcake and he walks by like, oh, okay, you gave me a cupcake, here you go.
But I love the line from Jinnu that says, I can't beat this dude with weapons. So what I'm gonna do? Drop everything. And like Deon said, Icarus obliges. Chivalry isn't dead. He's a knight by trade. This knight literally goes, you know what? Fine. You really want to do that? I'm taking the sword off. I'm taking the cape off. I'm dropping everything else. We can go straight up fisticuffs. Like
you know what? The only thing that would have made that scene better is if Igris would have done the Goku warm up
Just
Yep.
bounced around for a second like a boxer,
to
like a
pay
boxer,
homage. Yeah, like
like
man,
a little
that
like a
would have
boxer.
been
That would
That
the
be
would have been
funny.
the
cleanest.
go.
That would have been funny.
Oh man.
And then see, I say this is entree. Oh, we're about to get to the main course, ladies and gentlemen, because then this show goes, okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit of break. We're gonna have the head of the guild and his assistant talk. Oh, by the way, they get a phone call. This phone call is basically like to the other guild guy, y'all do know what you're about to go do, right? Y'all do know y'all about to go do something very dangerous. And he's like, yeah, we do. Okay, be careful, but I give you my full permission to do it. Basically what they're teasing, and I don't know if this is in the current. I don't think this is it. Deon can answer this question. I don't think this is in the current first book. No, it isn't. They're teasing going back to the island with the bugs, with the ants, and fighting off that ant. Fighting
I
off them.
think.
No, it's not in the book. It's not in this book because if it was in this book,
No,
it would.
I'm saying I think it may be like it's way down the line.
It's way down
It's
the line,
like,
but they're teasing it here to give you a context of what's actually going on.
yeah, the ant
So
island.
So then, after we see that there, we get the second part of this Ignis fight. And this Ignis fight, now they're going full hand-to-hand combat at this point. And like Chris mentioned, at one point, he does a Ignis does a full flawless combo to our main character. Basically, and you see the first part of it where they're standing right next to it and goes boom, boom, and he throws him in the air, punches him down, punches him back, grabs him, literally throws him, goes across the room, slides him across the wall, throws him back. It's like, are you serious? They're gonna just let him just do this? And Janu didn't know what to do. Then he finally like, okay, I can use my dash ability. He uses his dash ability, doesn't do much because Ignis just blocks it. After Ignis blocks that, Ignis gets back on the front foot, and the only thing that stops him is that Janu kicks him right where his helmet is. And after that, Ignis is like, you know what? All right, we're gonna keep going. We'll keep going in a second. Let me catch my
He's
breath.
like, oh, you want to hit people with the feet, huh?
White chicks, you want to talk about mama?
There it is.
And here's the thing: I would break here. I'm not going to. I'm going to finish the rest of this out because
Yeah,
the
you need
rest
to
of
finish so we can go
the
off.
rest of this we got from appetizer, main course. You know what A1 said? We're gonna make a little more. We're gonna do one more break, and we're gonna go to dessert. And you could have stopped this at any point, and they don't. So then we get to see this. We get to see a clock, and we get to see a note left on some food. It's his new sister saying, "This food's for you whenever you get home." She grabs her plate and she starts doing homework and eating one of the sandwiches. And then they showed one of the nurses coming out of the hospital room. It's the bed of the mother still clinging alive with that stone. Everything you knew is working towards to get the elixir of life. All right. Ultimately, the last thing we saw Janu, he ends up in this little throne chair, and the knight's above him. The knight goes, all right, you're out of it. You're taking deep breaths. You can barely talk. You can barely do anything. Let me go grab my sword. He calls his sword, lifts it above his head, and goes, I'm gonna finish you now. What does Janu do? Takes it with his bare hands with the armor he got from one of the other knights, grabs it, crushes it, about to crush it, pushes away. He's like, I'm not done with you yet. And he literally gets back up and starts fighting again. Ultimately, what this ends up being, Jinu was on something because at one point they show him just punching this dude like crazy. And then they cut to this like, I don't know if this was like, I don't know if you can call this like animated cartoon kind of thing or like a superhero kind of thing where they go to like his white silhouette with a red background. He's just going ham for a bit. And at the end, he knocks out Igris. Igris is sitting there out of it. And then he says, I don't know how I won. Igris is stronger, faster, and has more abilities. And yet I won by a fluke. Then he sits there for a second. He gets all these things. He gets the helmet. He gets 1.5 million yen or million gold. Also a teleporting stone. And also One other thing. So then ultimately he puts the helmet on. All his abilities go up by 20%, 20 power, and his speed, his agility, everything is up to a level. Oh, and then you know what happens? Igris is sitting there. He's out of it. He's like, I can get out of here now. Oh no, 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 no. Oh no, contraire. All these other portals open up. Basically saying, oh, you're gonna have more fighting. The system even goes. Here's the thing. You beat Igris. Now you have to fight to see who
You
not
just have to
fight
survive.
just
You really gotta
survive
survive.
as long as you can. No other things, no magic, no nothing. Survive as long as you can. And the system goes, good luck.
Good luck.
When a system tells you good luck, I think you should be worried. Yeah.
that's a scary point in there.
So then you see the broken wall behind him with Igris sitting there, and he looks at all these portals. But then they cut us again, one more time, to the guys get on the plane about to head to this island and do their thing. Then you see Jinho just literally try to go ham on them. He's like, no, I can't do it. I have to go hide. So he uses his stealth skill, but the stealth skill runs out because what happens? A mage fight. A mage breaks the stealth skill. He can't do a thing. So he's just has to fight. He finally keeps trying to fight. How long have I been here? Only 5 minutes. 5 minutes. That's all. He thought he'd been there for about 30, which is kind of funny. He drops the teleporting stone because one of the armor guys hits him in the arm with the teleporting stone in his hand. And then all these knights start swarming him. And he has nothing left to do to try to stop himself. And that's where the episode ends. Okay. A1, y'all were cooking. How I don't even know how y'all did this episode because there's no way this episode would make any sense to most people. I'm gonna start for Chris. Chris, what do you think about this back half? Up to the point where
Are you sure you want to start with me?
Go ahead, bro.
Alright, so
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
So continuing, so after Jinnu gets his head scrambled by Ingress, I mean, he's left, like you said, sitting on the throne. Now I was like, wait a minute, this throne does look a little familiar, and the fact that he just kind of laying on it, but I'll let that go and slide. But and then it's like, okay, now I feel like for me, he went pure beast mode. Bruh, I'm tired of this fight. I'm tired of you, man. Just whoo. I'm just gonna give you the last bit of energy. And I'm gonna go ham. I'm gonna stab you in the eye, bro. Like, come on, man. Bruh, like, I feel like that is his signature move. Go for the eyes. If you seen that he's taken down a few monsters the same way. So, hey, man, a sword to the eye, bro. Yeah, that hurt. And then you go through his helmet with the slit. Like, come on, like honestly, bro. And then you was like, you gotta push in. I was like, dang, dude, like, come on. That was what you call real murder intent. That skill he used, bro. And then he mixed it in with final strike, bro. I was like, I would do it, man. If for some reason Ingress got up after that, I would have walked away.
And here's the thing they do very well before I ask for Deon's rating, and you mentioned it, Chris. He stabs him in the eye. He stabs him in the neck. But the thing is that he does it like 3 or 4 times, back to back to back, with no real reason to do it except to try to get this man down. He doesn't care about anything else. He just wants to get Igris down.
Like, you notice it didn't even give time for the poison to sit in?
Nope, he didn't. Nope. Now the poison's not in, so he's like, I'm just gonna keep doing it. Don't care. It's a masterpiece in storytelling when you can tell when somebody's at their last wit's end. And he knew he was. And that's so good. Deon, go ahead. What do you think about this last back half?
So, honorable mention to when Igris throws Jinwoo up against the wall and it's just thunder punching him. And he's like, if I would have not had armor on, I would have been done for. I say that to say, while he slumped on the throne with this attack about to come down on him. Even with hurt armor and arms, he grabbed this blade. It's poetic. It's like, let's cut and show why Jinwoo is fighting the way he's fighting. Let's show his sister and his mom and his reasons for to keep going. And then let's show him just monstrously take that energy and, man, I mean, how do you say this without he cut into him like a ham on Christmas morning. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
There he goes.
oh.
I mean, he carved him up.
And I'm gonna have to interrupt you, Deon, real
ahead.
quick. I do apologize. Here's the thing. Here's the other part of this that connects all that together. We've already seen why the man's fighting for what he's fighting for. We've seen the fact he wants the electric life. We see the fact he wants to save his mother. We see the fact he's still doing things for his sister. And here's the other thing they do so well that I think has to be told. You do storytelling like that, I will believe it tenfold. The thing is, I can't believe it in MASH because you haven't given me a reason to believe in the characters behind me.
Oh, strike to the core. There it is. Yep.
But yet,
Yeah.
you give me Janu on his last leg, and you, like you say, they cut to his sister, his mom, and back to him.
It's impossible to believe that this is coming from the same studio, bro. Like, what?
I think it was funding at this point.
Crunchyroll, because Crunchyroll funded part of that.
I mean, but still.
I mean, what funding is it to just like, because they still do the cuts and MASH? They're just stupid. They just make no sense.
But no, here's the thing. If I go back and read MASH's manga and it's totally different from how the anime, then we know. We know for sure it was the studio.
Yeah.
But Chris, you also brought the point up. They used the webcomic to do the Icarus fight. That tells me they're looking at the source material. That tells me they're caring about the what? Like, that's not no easy task.
Yeah.
Money talk, bro.
Especially with this particular scene being such an iconic, and I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but Igris is one of people's favorite characters out of the webcomic.
Yeah, it's one of the favorite, most fun boss fights because that fight is just fun. Like,
when you see somebody do a whole ballet recital and you the doll,
by choice.
There it is.
By choice, because he could have just took that sword and sliced his head off. Like, bro, you dropping your weapon? All right, slink.
And the thing about it is, too, you do the other thing very well that MASH can't do. And Chris mentioned it. You gave us a 3D arena to show this fight off. And yet, at the same time you gave us the 3D arena, they used the whole arena. In the sense that the first thing you hear he say is, he cut that pillar in half. He knocked out that wall. What? Even Janu was shocked by the way the power was. That ultimately tells you something's up when you can make that arena make sense and it doesn't feel out of place.
I mean, he was more than shocked.
Very more than shocked. He was astounded.
Yes, he was.
Astonished, if you don't say.
Astonished.
But
MASH is looking very much like a cartoon right now. In comparison, it's looking very much like
Solo Level.
Like I'm comparing that.
Is on the level of Demon Slayer right now in terms of fights and storytelling, and you can tell me nothing otherwise.
Yeah, Magic and Muscle is looking more and more like Yu-Gi-Oh.
I'm like,
don't do my Yu-Gi-Oh like that.
Okay,
hey man, I never said which Yu-Gi-Oh, so you keep that over.
Oh, okay. You're talking about like Zexu or something.
Yeah, he's talking about like
whatever that is.
XD or I get it.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters, boy, that story game was strong. This is looking more like Digimon next chapter.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to ask for that. And by the way, Deon, I do apologize cutting you off. I just finished your sentence knowing where you were headed.
Yo, you're good, man. I love it.
I,
I'm gonna
I,
save
I,
the rest for the next episode.
oh yeah, next
There
episode
it
will be fun.
is.
Next episode,
There
call the
it
rise,
is.
ladies and gentlemen. That's gonna be fun.
Peace.
Keep
I'm
in
gonna ask for this.
mind,
I already know the answer for both these gentlemen. Most likely, we're doing it anyway, just for context. And I'll start off with Chris. Chris, what would you give Solo Leveling episode 11 as a rating?
my mic is on. I'm just mouthing. That was what I was gonna do.
Fair enough. Yep.
But I was saying I'm giving this episode a 8.9. Yes, sir.
Oh.
8.9.
Explain. What's the 1.1%?
Because I can't give it because it's not the end of the season.
That's fair. That is fair. That is fair. That is fair.
But Brandon knows I do this every season. Every
You
season.
do. You do. That's fair. Deon, what would you give this episode?
Anime ranking 10 out of 10. Reading the manga a 9.999%.
Yep. We're beating. Okay. That's fair.
I mean, the manga, the webtoon is just a little bit more detailed and everything, but to see it come to life, and I love the little props that they're giving us that we don't have in the webtoon just yet. Like, we have all the information, but the way they're presenting it, when they're presenting it, like seeing the mom and sister before this powerful comeback scene. Chef's
You got to know what you're fighting for, bro. Because if you ain't fighting for nothing, well, you'll fall for anything.
Yeah.
That's just like MASH, though. MASH, and I was like, oh man, I almost forgot he had a reason for doing this.
But see, it's funny in the previous episode of MASH, they showed him his uncle or the grandfather and the police guy.
They showed him in this episode. Oh, what's that in the sky? What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's the cut you give me?
Yeah.
Like,
here's the thing. I can't disagree with this, boys. This episode gets a 10. If you want an all around good fights episode plus a little bit of story, not a lot, enough to keep the story rolling. You did the Jinho story. You do the story about going back to the island. You gave me the story that he's still fighting for his mom and sister. Like, I'm still gonna boggle my mind a little bit that this show is all about the fighting. and I'm gonna say this right now. A YouTuber I watched, he mentioned this, and I kind of invoked it here. A1 was like, fine, you know what? We'll give you the fighting. We'll give you an appetizer. We'll give you a main entree. We'll give you dessert. We'll even give you more dessert on top of that. Do you want all this, or do you want us to stop at any point? We'll stop at any point. Oh no, we're not stopping. Fine. Here you go. Here's everything on a silver platter, and yet it wasn't overload. It wasn't out. It wasn't crazy. It didn't feel like it was too much. It felt like just enough because it ended up making sense across the board. That's hard to do when you give us one long fight and another short fight, and all of it makes sense. And ultimately, the cuts is the big thing you did. The cuts is the big thing. If you cut in the way you cut, help that out.
If this does not put Solo Leveling and 1 or 2 on this chart,
we should ban that chart.
It will for the fight.
Anime Corner, come see me, bro.
It will for the fight, but that's the problem. Everybody just wants the fight. They don't want the story. Most people don't want the story,
but
which is hard to do.
Gives you story.
Oh yeah, it still gives
this
you
episode
story.
still gave you story. to the point where it's giving you questions that you want to be answered. It's giving you context to stuff that you had questions for already. I don't know. Chef kiss to A1 for this. And then I want to punch you in the face for MASH. I'm just saying.
I'll
It's a
put
thin line
I'll put it to you this way.
between love and hate.
I'll put it this way, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't started watching Soul Leveling, I would suggest you go do that. You have to start watching it because it's worth your time. I think if you just care about the fights, go right ahead. If you care about story, the story has been beautiful. And if we're getting a season 2 confirmed like they talked about already, give me 24 episodes, please. I wouldn't hate that.
Oh,
I wouldn't hate that. Give me
If
20.
Solo Leveling
give me 12
goes
more
into-
episodes to season 1.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, no. Can you imagine how many shows will be going ham if Solo Leveling continues into the spring?
A bunch. You would have. That's a list. I don't want to look at that list now because that list would be one of the greatest seasons in anime history.
That
On top of the stuff that's already ongoing?
yes, yes,
Like,
yes.
and think about the fact if we don't get it this season, but we get the season when the Suicide Squad Isekai come out,
That's only in the summer.
and that's the thing.
Both reincarnated as a slime and jobless reincarnation will still be going.
Yeah, they will be.
There are a
Only
lot
2
of
weeks,
shows
2
from the
months.
spring that are still going.
Here's the other thing I'm gonna say before we end this podcast tonight. It just is kind of like it's kind of hard pressed to me that if you don't understand what Soul Leveling is doing, you won't understand it now. Because this is a story about family. This is a story about a man losing his humanity. This is a story about a guy who's at his wit's end to the point where I'll do anything to help my mother. And that means I'm gonna have to go to the dark side. I'm going to the dark side. They've teased the dark side a couple times, but they haven't fully gone. He hasn't fully gone there yet. You know why? Because they tried to keep his humanity intact with his sister, with his mom.
This
Once
is
we fully-
Itachi's origin story. Oh, sorry.
Once we fully go to the dark side, oh, this is gonna be over, and Chris's thing will come into play, where oh yeah, every time we see another fight, the animation will get 10 times better. Oh, and it has. It absolutely has. This is probably one of the best animated episodes ever so far this season for them, and you can tell why because they took their time on it. Next week is episode 50 of the Anime Dojo. For that episode, we're going to do one of two things. We're just going to go through both these episodes. We're going to do the chart. And then we're going to do a deep dive on these episodes. Chart, deep dive. That's it. And we're going to talk about this season as a whole. This anime season as a whole as well. Because I think that deserves it. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this ride so far. Because we're about to do 50 episodes. And think about this. We've watched Jobless, Magic and Muscles, Denmount Death Play, and a couple other things across the board. We talked about Jobless, but we've done those other 3 shows I mentioned.
No, we did do Jobless, didn't we?
We did.
Wasn't
Yeah, we did do
season
Jobless.
4 last?
Yeah, we did do Jobless.
JJK.
Like,
Mhm.
think about the list of shows we've covered, and yet we've covered them because we've enjoyed where they've taken them. MASH, not fully included in that, but it's still enough to understand why anime is good as it is. I'll say this. I told Chris the other night we were watching something. If you don't make anime for what? If you don't enjoy making anime for telling a story you want to tell, why do you make it? If you don't make anime to conjure emotions, call it feelings, conjure whatever, why do you make it? If you don't make an anime to understand what gets out those emotions, why do you make it? Because ultimately, we've seen the season. MASH is supposed to be comedy, and this is supposed to be act, and then Soul Leveling is supposed to be storytelling action. We got both of those. The comedy for Soul Leveling, not great, but the storytelling for Soul Leveling outweighs that, and the action outweighs it. Next week we get episode 12 Soul Leveling, Arise. And we get episode 24 of Magic and Muscles. So we're gonna get through Magic and Muscles probably not too quickly, but quickly, and then we're gonna go to a deep dive through Arise. And that'll probably be the episode where we can talk about more of the manga for me and Deon. Because at that point, the season will be done. We can go through the manga officially. Or the webtoon in that case.
At least up until that point.
Yeah, up to that point. So we'll be back for episode 50 of the Anime Dojo. I do thank these channels for joining me. This will go up on the Spotify as of when it finished processing, and it'll be up on YouTube as of Thursday. My name is Ed. Thank you for watching. Hope you're enjoying. Hope you hear me next time. See you.
Peace.
Later.